Jessica Blaylock.
I am great. How are you guys?
Doing all right. You foresee that happening where they go down on the field? I mean, you might be involved in these kind of interviews where you have to ask the manager who he likes, in terms of the price and or over the first 5 innings. This is something Minervini would probably be an advocate of.
I was just about to say, I would pay money to have a front row seat to watching Craig ask managers and coaches about the money line. Sign me up for that.
And game would be so great.
It's bound to become a requirement, I would think, of any kind of sideline reporting or field reporting, because they come so close. I mean, to having the commissioner himself actually pick the games.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Good morning to our good friend Rosalina, already tuned in. Always great to have her on board here and on the chat line. Big Possum, good morning to you. And good morning to everybody out there that's tuned in to South Florida Live. Great to be with you on what is our pre-Super Bowl Degenerate Friday edition of the program. Are you ready, Mike Lubitz, for that? Because this is one of those things that, well, I mean, for the years that we were on Radio Row, we actually never did anything on Friday. We were usually done by Thursday. We were doing morning shows. Nobody's in the room, especially when it's a West Coast game. Now, Arizona's 2 hours time difference because they don't do daylight savings time. Yeah. So, it would be the equivalent even now of 5 in the morning. There aren't that many. You won't see Joe Montana cruising around the Radio Row at 5 a.m. That guy's coming in a little bit later with his entourage. So there really was nothing more to do once we got past the Thursday show. And we would end up staying and working pretty hard on Thursday to get everything done for Friday. So usually we were out of there. But here today, I mean, we're going to unload all of our handicappers today on our Degenerate Friday show. We'll have the Greek get his opinion on the ball game. Always good. The Greek usually involved in sick proposition bets. And I think I've narrowed it down a little bit after. I mean, I've gone back and forth. I don't know. I mean, who to pick for the side. I don't even think I'm going to bet like who wins the game. That would be the simplest thing, wouldn't it? I mean, only one of two teams can win the game. And so you got a 50-50 shot. Most people are of the belief that Philadelphia is going to win the game. We had Brandon Lang on our podcast yesterday of Two for the Money fame. Brandon, very good with Super Bowls, although also very candid and very forthright. I mean, he said, hey, I got buried in the last couple of Super Bowls. One of which he blamed squarely on the rather rotund midsection of one Andy, the Fat Man Reid.
That fucking cold.
And all of the accolades that you're hearing about Andy Reid, all of the bouquets that are being tossed Andy Reid's way, I mean, may as well be pork chops, according to Brandon Lang. I mean, he absolutely despises this guy in these spots. And so he made a very valid case for the Philadelphia Eagles and convinced me, I mean, at least while I was listening to him, I was convinced that, hey, what am I, crazy, thinking that the Chiefs are going to win this ballgame? And I don't really believe that. That's the problem. If you're going to make a bet, do you need to believe in it, or do you just wager to have some kind of action on the game? What do you think, Lubie?
There's both ways. Usually you bet on where your convictions are in that game. Not fandom, not emotions, but convictions. But
I mean, I can see Philadelphia losing also. I really can.
And look, a lot of the time where we are, most people would, like they say, won't touch it.
Yeah.
You'll find other things to bet on. That's what's cool about the Super Bowl is there's lots to bet on. You don't have to bet on the side. So that's why if I'm not as tight as you are. I went in on the Chiefs. I'm sitting with the Chiefs. I'm not moving. You've been
I'm confused. I mean, I'll admit it. But what I'm trying to do is figure out how I can bet like the most marginal amount of money and have a shot to win some money on this game. So I think I have it now. All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. First reception in the ball game, I think, is a proposition worth looking at. Now, the normal instinct right away, I mean, you're thinking, who's going to make the first catch in a ball game? It's either going to be Travis Kelce or let's say Philadelphia gets the ball first. Now, this would put a dagger. If Philadelphia gets the ball first, I'm ruined on this bet. I don't believe that Kelsey's going to make the first catch. He might. I mean, that would be the logic, right? What are you thinking? You want to establish a little bit of the offense. First thing you want to establish is that Kelsey's going to be hard to stop. I don't know how many guys Sirianni is going to throw at Travis Kelce early in a ball game. Can he afford to double cover Travis Kelce? Or, have Kelce just, gobbled up in some kind of tight inside zone while he lets, the receivers are coming back, all but that one guy. What is it, Harden or something? Hardman, yeah.
Gonna be there, yeah.
He's out. But Juju Smith-Schuster is coming back, and he's at full strength, and he's been practicing. And Kadarius Toney, also, the guy they got from the Giants.
Okay.
He's back also. All right, now both of those guys to make the first reception in a game are at odds of 16-1.
Oh,
think about that now. All right, so logic would dictate first throw from Mahomes is going to go to Kelce, or he's going to dump it off to Pacheco and try and get something going in that direction. But I'm thinking these guys that are coming back from injury, he wants to establish them right away. So he's either going to throw to Juju Smith-Schuster, or Kadarius Toney to see, just to establish them in the game and say, okay, they were injured, they were questionable, people were skeptical whether or not they were going to be able to play, and so here we go. I mean, it's like the guy you give the ball back to after he fumbles, and you give it right back to him the next carry to establish that, okay, you're all right, you're a professional. So I'm thinking Mahomes looks inside to Kelce, and then zoom, zips one outside to either Juju Smith-Schuster or Kadarius Toney, 16-1. All right.
Oh, yep, Tony.
16-1. So now think about that. If you had $20 on those two guys, that's $40 outlay.
Yeah.
That's $320 coming back. I mean, right away, you've won more money. You would have to put up 3 sticks to win that kind of money if you were right about the side.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now, that's contingent on, a very significant factor here. You would have to lose the coin toss with Kansas City. They would have to lose the coin toss. So you may as well bet that if you're going to do it and factor that into the fray. And then on top of that, Philadelphia naturally, it seems like every team defers and puts their defense on the field first. And you would imagine that Philadelphia would probably want to put its defense on the field first, because their defense really is what kind of led them to this spot. Everybody's talking about this sack machine. They would want to bring all of these guys out there that all had 10-plus sacks, annihilate Mahomes in the first series, get them off the field. And look what a big advantage it is. If you can get, limit Kansas City maybe to 1 first down on that first possession, or even better still, a 3-and-out. Huge win if you defer.
Yep.
It doesn't work if they march right down the field and score. Then you feel like a bit of an asshole, right? I mean, you're Nick Sirianni going, whose idea was it to kick it off to Mahomes? You're fired. Well, there's a lot of, a lot has to come together for this bet to work out, no? Because I was going to parlay to 16-1 on those two guys. I think you can get 6-1 on Travis Kelce to make 8 touchdowns, score 8 touchdowns in the game.
He's getting 1. I mean,
you think he's getting 1 for sure? 6-1.
Got to get 1. I mean,
so what's that? You're parlaying 16-1. So you would essentially, if you had $20 on both of those guys and you parlayed both of those bets with Travis Kelce getting a touchdown plus Kansas City losing the coin toss. Wow. I mean, what does that equate out to?
Oh, it's actually like not tails, and hopefully it's literally Kansas City.
You just bet that Kansas City loses the coin toss. All right. And that way they get the ball. I mean, it's such reverse logic in there. That way they get the ball first. And if they get the ball first, you're going to have Mahomes shoot one out to either, one of these two guys, Schuster or Toney, try to establish them back off of their injuries and show them that they're going to be part of the offense that day, and put some pressure on the cornerbacks right away before you start unloading to Kelce. And then if you can drive the ball down the field, you get a touchdown to Kelce. So you're getting even money on them losing the coin toss. Now, so you let's say you bet 20 on this, and the 2 threads, right? You have both Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster. Are you following this, people? This is how you lose your money. In other words, I may as well just take $40 and tear it up right now.
I was going to say, you can just give it to me. I'll take your $40.
$40 out the window, man. I could be tipping the bartender at this freebie party I'm going to. I could put 40 in the cup right away and say, take care of me and that blonde over there, and we're good for the day. How about that? And that might be a better use of the capital. But if you just wanted to have some action and maybe put some money up in smoke, not risk a lot. So here's the payoff, though. So you now have $40 going at 16-1 if the coin toss thing works out, and you get the deferral, by Philadelphia, who wins the coin toss. You win that bet, and now Kansas City's got the ball. They throw it out to Smith-Schuster right away. He makes a catch. Now you've got $40 at 16-1. That's $640
Okay.
going to a 6-1 proposition.
Okay.
Is that possible? I mean, if you hit those three things, is the math right? I'm doing degenerate math here on the fly while I'm trying to figure out where I'm going next with this whole thing.
Parlay all those things, it's got to be ridiculous.
It would be even money on $20, so that's 40, right? Am I doing this right? Even money on $20 for the coin toss thing, right? That's going to be minus 105. So let's just call it even money to make it easy to do. You're getting 16-1 now on a $40 wager, which would be $640. And then you're parlaying that to Kelsey making a touchdown or getting a touchdown at 6-1. So that's $3,600 plus $240, $3,840 you can make on a three-way parlay. That is not impossible to conceive, is it, Lubie? I mean,
but don't odds when you parlay, don't odds jump tremendously? Like I feel like your odds would be way more if you're parlaying.
I'm thinking you just get the natural equation in these prop parlays. It's not like you're getting a 3-team parlay and so you get 6-1 automatically, pretty much. Okay. Although, it does go by the odds. I mean, if you're playing money line, that's one thing. If you're playing, I guess, also with the points, you would get 6-1 on a 3-team parlay or thereabouts.
Look, the only positive is you may either know, you'll know yes or no within the first 5 minutes of the game. So
exactly, you'll be out $40 before you even have your first cocktail,
or you're a huge winner, and the rest of the game.
Or a huge winner. I mean, think about that. No, you wouldn't know about the Kelsey touchdown maybe until the entire game.
No, but if the other guys don't do it or do it, then that's either going or not going. Like within the first 5 minutes, it's either.
It's all contingent on Casey getting the ball first and deciding to do something. Andy Reid's going to think a little bit out of the box. I mean, he's not going to throw right in the teeth of the Philadelphia defense.
No, going to Tony. I wouldn't even do this Smith-Schuster Tony. Tony was a guy. That's why, Tony and Hardman are almost they're quick guys that do the stupid ass little Tyreek Hill bullshit.
You roll out Mahomes a little bit, move the pocket, and throw to the outside. There's Smith-Schuster. He runs a little square out, or Kadarius Toney. Boom. He goes to the other side, and while rolling to his right, boom, hey, Tony, 16-1.
See, I like each thing separately. My problem is when...
Well, maybe you bet them separately also. I mean, you wouldn't need the coin toss thing, but you're assuming, obviously. I mean, that's a lot to assume, and the three first letters of assume naturally are S, and you could probably just tack on HOLE after that.
You've been on, I would switch all week. You've been on doing tails, going against the 52%.
I believe tails will be the call.
There, you're switching it by going anti-cheat because you're trying to be like the Greek hates when people bet season on the Giants and then bet against the Giants. Now you're betting against yourself, so you're trying to not bet against yourself. I get that. I think you should just stay with your gut. You've been on tails the whole fucking week.
Yeah.
You want to bet,
but for me to hit that Tony or Smith-Schuster bet, KC would have to have the ball first. So
maybe KC goes heads. I don't fucking know. What I'm saying is or maybe the Eagles pick tails. So either way, then you have
the Eagles pick tails. It's good. I mean, I don't care what the Eagles pick. I'm counting on them deferring and giving the ball to Kansas City, which may be a mistake. I mean, maybe they want to put their offense on the field first because everybody thinks, wow, their defense is great, but maybe they really believe Jalen Hurts will lead them to a touchdown pass, and that'll really put pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, what do you want the Chiefs to have to do? You want to put them in a hole right away if you can.
Yep.
Obviously, getting the jump on the other team in the Super Bowl. I don't know how often it's happened, but there's nothing better like when your horse is a speed horse and the first two jumps out of the gate. 3 lengths in front. Very difficult for the others to, make any headway after that, especially when they slow the pace down to a crawl. I'm not sure. I would think that whoever wins the coin toss is probably going to defer. Although if I was the Chiefs, I would want the ball. Yeah,
I'd say take ball. Even if I'm the Eagles too. To me, it's more I'm deferring because I'm old school and I like getting the ball at half. But honestly, in this game, that's such a toss-up. And both quarterbacks have injuries. I'd like to go out there and show my guys ready. That's what I'd like to do. And Sirianni's a younger dude.
Yeah. All right, so maybe we leave out the coin toss. That complicates everything. Plus, nothing like being fucked before the game even starts.
That's the only problem. Is ruining the parlay before the game goes sucks.
Right? I mean, do I stand there in the middle of the Harris? I mean, it's going to be, I don't know, you've never seen this, but they have this huge indoor pool area, right?
Okay.
And a giant swimming pool, and they use it as a nightclub. I mean, it's really they have a lot of big ass parties there, and usually occupied by very young people that gravitate towards Atlantic City. I don't know, they come from all areas of New Jersey, I guess, and they're all dressed up. I mean, the guys look sharp, the babes are all dolled up. And these are usually, I mean, you're looking to see if any of these kids, even qualify to have a drink in Atlantic City. I don't know what the drinking age is there. Is it 18 or 21? What do you think, Lubie?
The whole nation is 21. We're in America. It's all
21. Okay. It's universal, really?
Yes.
I'm surprised DeSantis hadn't made it, well, no, he would probably encourage young people to drink. So they could buy some of the asinine ideas that he has. They really banned, like, Hank Aaron's book.
Supposedly the word is strung through it, but again, okay, like that word exists.
Roberto Clemente. I mean, they won't sell a book. By Roberto. They took it out of the library. Is that what happened?
I don't know. I mean, are you kidding me?
Right. I mean, imagine you can't even go to the sports book section and buy like number 21 because Ronnie Boy doesn't like what Clemente had to say, even though he's been dead for 50 years and was known as a philanthropist. I mean, he was doing philanthropic work as he checked out in his plane crash. Unbelievable. I don't know. Maybe that's just the thing to do. Is just at 16-1. That's not a bad prop bet. I think those two guys to catch the first pass.
And I like that Kelsey an entire game. Kelsey
one touchdown in a game.
Those are smart bets.
You think smart? I mean, you're dealing with smart.
Betting's never smart, but if you're gonna bet, those seem like low risk bets. My problem, like the one for 16-1, it feels like one of those guys are probably gonna get the first catch. Like they're gonna assume it's Kelsey.
16-1, that's almost worth a shot, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean, there are many other guys that have lower odds, but I'm thinking that, especially coming off the injury, this would be Andy Reid's thought process. And the offensive coordinator, Bieniemy, would say, let's establish these two guys as being part of the game.
Anyone who watched that game, their offense in the second half, when it was known that those three guys were out, was very different. To win this game, they're going to need to put up points. They're going to need to be the offense that, like you said, the Eagles haven't really seen in person against them.
I'm hoping they are, because I'm going to root for the Chiefs to win the game. I don't know that I'm going to bet on them, but I'm going to root for them to win the game.
To do that, they're going to need those two guys, right? Your strategy is actually right. That's what I mean. For 16-1, it's actually very sound. It's the parlay crap. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, why not fuck it up? See, at 16-1, that's enough of a generous offering that if you really believe that that's a possibility, it's just worth having. I mean, think about it. $20 gets you back $320.
That's worth it.
To win on either side or the over under, you would have to put up over $300 to win $320. So. I mean, is it worth a shot there? A shot in the dark? It's kind of like betting who's going to, score the first touchdown. You're usually getting pretty generous odds on that, but it's hard to figure, right? I mean, what? You're thinking a running back for the Philadelphia Eagles scores the first touchdown? Or, I mean, if Kansas City gets on the board first, naturally everybody's going to be looking at Kelsey. Does Mahomes score a touchdown in the game? That's another one. Does he run one in himself in this ball game? I would think Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown would be a pretty good bet. I don't know what the price is on that, but
that's probably low.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to get lost in a couple of prop bets. Brandon Lang had one. Who was that running back? Goddard or something like that.
The prop he gave us is really good because Kenny Gainwell, second back, quote unquote, to Miles Sanders. However, not really. Like they used both of them pretty solidly, and it's under 20 yards. Like he could have one good run, and
he's going to go 19 and a hook, over. And Lang says that one is Lock City. That's his favorite prop bet on the board to bet.
I like that a lot. Like I think that is an interesting bet.
You know they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. You know they're going to try to run the ball, and if they do mix these running backs up, somewhat evenly, or even if it's 70-30, this guy has a pretty good shot to gain 20 yards. Does he not? All of it looks easy when you think it out like that, right? I mean, you're already conceding me 16-1 as if it was a cinch.
I don't think it's a cinch. I just think
a zillion things have to go right for you to win this bet. You have to get the ball first, and then they have to actually do it. So, not the easiest of proposition bets to hit. I mean, if Philadelphia gets the ball, that's off the table, right? Unless they go 3 and out without completing a pass. Think about that.
I just think for those level of odds, like 16-1 is ridiculous.
That's a good price on that, no? I mean, it's worth a sniff. Yeah,
I just think it's sound. Like it's.
that's where my money's going to go. All right.
I'm curious.
I'm going
I'd
to
love
bet
to see
those two guys $20 a piece to make the first catch in the game and just sit it out. I think after that, you can always re up on some other stuff. I mean, later on, maybe bet the second half, but just to have some activity, and I will have action on the game because I'll be going double or nothing on my friend Francesco's season long quest, and he ended the season 12 units down. So there's a little piece of change there. I'm going to let him have whatever side it is that he wants. So I'm thinking he goes with Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure he hates Kansas City. So I'll end up having a bet on the Chiefs of fair significance, with nothing to lose because I'm already out for the season with this guy since he finished up 12 games under 500. So that was good for me. Hey, a lot of things happening. We want to get to many things here. We're going to have the Greek coming up here in a few minutes. We'll get his thoughts on the game. He might have some props that he likes. Mark Lawrence later on. I mean, you talk about master's thesis in mathematics. This guy's better than Matt Damon was in Good Will Hunting when it comes to the numbers. And so we'll get into some numerology with Mark Lawrence and get his thoughts on the Super Bowl. The Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, going to join us. Did he go anywhere last night? I didn't see any pictures posted about some giant meal that he had. No?
Did not. Maybe he's recovering because Gulfstream always treats us really well. Maybe he's learning to, pick it.
I don't think he's pacing himself. Do you?
I'm hoping. We need him to.
Oh, yeah. No, there were pictures. He was at Cafe Seville last night. Oh, my God.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, Jesus. Really?
I'm now, a big picture of a pork chop just flashed in front of
me.
me.
I'm happy. He hasn't been at Cafe Seville, so I'm glad he's going.
He ran into the man, the boxing surgeon, Hacky Reitman. Which is an amazing. I mean, no one made more of a transformation during the course of a single day than Hacky Reitman, who would be performing orthopedic surgeries during the daytime. And if you spoke to him while he was at the hospital, he'd be like, well, it looks like an ulnar nerve. I'm going to have to go in there and we'll do a little scoping and then see if we can't clean it up. And if we can't, we may have to go for a full-blown surgery. Okay, doc. Diagnosis. Then you'd see him as he was going to step into the ring at City Limits against Tim Doc Anderson, and he became one of those D's, them, and those guys. Yeah, I'm going to hit the guy, and, I hope he can take the punishment because I'm going to be dishing it out all night. Hey, wait a minute. What happened to this sophisticated fucking surgeon that I was just talking to this morning when I needed to get my elbow examined? All of a sudden, he puts the gloves on, and he came in there with my good friend two-ton Tommy Torino, who wasn't fat, but the two-ton just kind of fit like it was Tony Galento. And you would ask, Tommy Torino, hey, any shot here? Hacky surviving this? And he go, don't worry, these guys were handpicked. But they had to be. I mean, poor Hacky. Hacky really believes that he would have contended for the heavyweight title. That's one of those things. You get hit in the head too many times. I mean, even if you have like a brain of a doctor, forget about it, man. It could do some serious damage. All right, we did want to congratulate Zach Thomas. Finally got in. I mean, one of the
yes
saddest things, I guess, that we used to see on Radio Rose. You didn't experience it quite as much as I did because I was doing this, for a long time before we got involved, Lubie. But you were at enough of them to have seen this, and you witnessed it yourself firsthand with Jerry Kramer. I don't know. Did you ever have Cooch? Was he around when we were doing some of those shows? Kuchenberg, Bob Kuchenberg, because
I had Cooch on.
These were guys that were eligible for the Hall of Fame for like 15 years after their retirement, and they tortured them, tormented them every year. And they would come close and then closer and closest and still not make it. And then year number 15 would come up, and you saw the just absolute onset of depression, about to occur as once again they were passed over. I think they finally they put Kramer in his last year of eligibility.
Yes, I think he just got in. I think he just got in, yes.
And Cooch, he never made it, right? Did Cooch ever make it in? Did he make it in on some veterans committee? Bob Kuchenberg? I'm not sure.
I did. I'll look it up. I'll check it out.
I want to say no. Bob Kuchenberg never made the Hall of Fame. Even though well-deserving. I mean, look what he did. I mean, he was blocking for the running game with Zonk and Merck and Jim Kick in the era of the back-to-back Super Bowls, and then came back and was blocking for Marino. I mean,
yep.
Pass protecting for Dan the Man as the team went to another Super Bowl. Pretty amazing that he could span that much of a differential in terms of approach and also time and not be a Hall of Famer. Bob Kuchenberg, who was always regarded as one of the fine offensive linemen in the game. But it was sad seeing like a busted out version. I mean, Kramer was getting more and more impaired by whatever the game did to him. Remember? I mean, he could barely even walk That last year that, he was pretty much being assisted by a walker, and two guys were holding him up, and he would sit down and go, yeah, it would really be an honor to make it into the Hall of Fame. And says, just give it to him already. Huh? Everybody has a vision of Jethro Pugh being knocked into the third row there, and Bart Starr going in on the quarterback sneak, and there it is, touchdown, ice ball, Dallas Cowboys going down in flames. That was all Jerry Kramer on that block. That alone was enough to send him into the Hall of Fame, a signature moment in NFL history. And I guess he finally got in. But Zach Thomas, I didn't realize Zach retired all the way back in 2008.
Yeah.
Wow. So think about that. This was like his 10th go-around then as eligible for the Hall of Fame.
It's definitely been a few. It's been a while.
I'm a big believer in this. And, we said this many, many times over the course of the years, that you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. So why go through all of this rigmarole to, sort of matriculate these guys in there over a period of years? As soon as they're eligible, after 5 years or whatever, if you wanted to waive that too, that would be okay with me. Either declare the guy a Hall of Famer or not. You're either in or you're never in.
Yeah, I agree.
But why torture these guys forever? Is Zach Thomas any more of a Hall of Famer today than he was 10 years ago when he was first eligible? No, he should have been in the Hall of Fame for the last 10 years. Enjoying whatever goes along with that, benefits that go along with that in terms of recognition and or ability to market yourself. Not that he's trying to, because I think Zach did very well monetarily and invested his money very wisely. I believe that he has a place on the Hillsborough Mile, and couldn't be a nicer guy. Everybody loves Zach Thomas. Statistically, and this ends the argument about, well, if Urlacher's in, then how come Zach is not? And I would say now the most jilted Dolphin in terms of Hall of Fame stature, if it's not Kuchenberg, and find out if he got in on some veterans committee or something, Libby. But would be Mark Clayton would be the guy that probably has been the most jilted in terms of recognition for his greatness and getting zero Hall of Fame consideration. Mark Clayton.
Yeah,
Coach is in? Hall of Famer? No?
He's not. No, he was one of the top 15 finalists for them.
It was sad watching him go around and pleading his case there.
Been a finalist. He was on a line that had 3 other Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Everyone got him but him. And when you talk to people like Langer, Little, Stevenson, all were amongst as good as anyone at their position ever. But Kuchenberg gets the same credit. Like, it's not like Kuchenberg's not heralded as one of the elite linemen ever.
It was always considered. Every year that he was eligible, people thought, "Oh yeah, Cooch, man, he should get in." And it was the same thing with Jerry Kramer. Everybody thought, "Well, you're not in the Hall of Fame. What are you talking about?" I remember that was always something that we had to, kind of, quickly, trying to resolve in our own minds. And get. Thank God for Google, because the guy would sit down and you were thinking, "Wait, is he a Hall of Famer or not?" I don't know, right? And they had you that little sheet with the information about the guy, but most of it was about pork rinds or something along those lines.
When you'd assume that they were, and then you'd feel like a jerk off when you're like, "Oh no, I'm not." It's like, okay.
Yeah, how's it feel to be a Hall of Famer? Well, I'm not really in. It's always a bad start, right? It's kind of like that Hank Goldberg interview when he was, talking to who was it that he totally confused?
Will Clark.
Will Clark, yeah, real dickhead. You're confusing with Jack Clark. And Will Clark was a jerk off, in terms of personality. Well, it was very abrasive, and was just as likely to call you out and say that you were a moron. And imagine Hank, the distinguished Hank Goldberg, sitting there going, "Well, you know what? I was a bat boy with the Cardinals, and I tell you what, you were the greatest guy." It's like, I never played for the Cardinals. We had our share of those moments, right? Where you're sitting there going, "Well, I'll just take a shot here, man, that this guy's in the Hall of Fame." And then, the guy would say, "Well, I'm not in the Hall of Fame." You go, "Well, you certainly deserve it, man. Obviously, there's been an oversight here. Gargantuan proportions. I don't understand how the committee could be so blind." All right, coming back with the Greek here, and then we'll get into a little big board with the professor. I don't know if he's got a big board of Super Bowl. He's usually on topic here, yeah. Super Bowl, blunders? I don't know.
Yeah,
something interesting.
He's coming up with something. He didn't tell me ahead of time, so we'll see.
Okay, all right. And then we'll have Mark Lawrence. Of course, Mark Lawrence always brilliant on this kind of analysis, and usually giving out the dog. I would think he likes Kansas City in the game. If he doesn't, then he probably doesn't touch the side. Might be inclined to go with an over-under. Everybody thinks this game's going over like a cinch, 50 and a hook.
I think
Why has that number stayed there if everybody's convinced that the game's going to be a shootout?
That's the one where I'm going against the grain. You and I have talked about it so much. A lot of the time, everyone assumes that these offenses are going to be high powered, and then you have like that. Remember the Patriots Rams game? Like literally, we thought that would be.
Oh yeah, no, that was an automatic over, wasn't it?
And that did nothing. The Rams didn't score one touchdown that entire game. Like.
This happens, and also, you sometimes have a very slow pace at the beginning of Super Bowl games. They go through the proverbial, and I hate this cliche whenever you're doing boxing, and I would kill myself if I said, well, you look at this. It's early round, strictly a feeling out process. But is there a bit of a feeling out process early in? I just think coaches are a little conservative early in Super Bowl games. No? And that's why I'm hoping that Andy Reid goes against all of this and just gets the ball first and starts throwing to his outside receivers. Wouldn't that be great? Smith-Schuster, number one, and then I parlay that with Tony getting the second catch. Now we're getting carried away. Hialeah Park, that's a great place. I mean, that'd be a great place to take in a Super Bowl, that's for sure. Now, they don't have sports wagering there, but, get on your app there, make your bets, and, whatever offshore book you're working with, and then enjoy the full splendor of, the great casino atmosphere that they have at Hialeah Park. And I would imagine they're going to have a hell of a Super Bowl or a big game party. Big game party. Sorry, Frankie. Big game party they're going to have. I mean, it'll be a great place to take it in. Plus, you can gamble your brains out on the Vegas-style slot machines. You can play poker. That'd be a nice way, right? A couple of hands of poker casually. Maybe you're in a 1-2 game or something like that, and you're just playing for hours while the Super Bowl is going on. If Super Bowl doesn't turn out to be a great game, you're having yourself a good time just playing cards. Or punch away all day long. I mean, this is another one of my favorite activities. I'm not going to be in Atlantic City on time to take advantage of like early post times at various tracks around the country. I guess I could sneak in there and bet a little Santa Anita in the afternoon before the game kicks off. But I doubt that I'll be inclined to do that because it involves a lot of schlepping, and I'm still going to be figuring out what to do. I think it'll go right down to the wire when I finally do with my Super Bowl wagers. What do you think, Lubie? I mean, but you've convinced me that maybe I'm onto something with this wide receiver thing.
I think you should go for it. That sounds logical for once.
It's a way to have two small wagers and a shot to win like decent
money. It's money, yeah.
And that would help, right? Because at 320, I could take it right to the track on Monday, and be over at the Borgata there, just punching away on Mahoning Valley. I mean, what a switch. You go from betting the Super Bowl game to betting Mahoning Valley, like $2,500 claiming pigs in the fourth race. And, trying to make, some kind of bankroll that way. But that would be the perfect thing. Punching the horses all day on Super Bowl Sunday. And you can do that at Hialeah Park in the Champion Simulcasting Room. Boxing going to be sensational. I mean, this card on the 24th is must-see stuff. I don't know. Can we talk Mayo into coming down there? What do you think?
Why wouldn't you go? It's a great time.
And he would like the food down there, too. I mean, he really would. The Cuban sandwiches among the best that you can find anywhere. And I think even the most harshest, and discriminating of critics would probably say the same thing, that, hey, go to Hialeah Park. You want to get a great Cuban sandwich. That is great. It's just one of many, many great samplings they have of just culinary excellence at Hialeah Park. Really great food and drink all over the place. You're going to love it. Boxing February 24th. Get your tickets online at hialeahpark.com and enjoy the full splendor of, maybe it's as well-run a casino as you will find anywhere in the world. Generous rewards program also, which is not necessarily typical of local casinos. I mean, this isn't part of some big chain. They haven't been bought by Harris or anything. I mean, they're just doing it on their own. They're at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more. The Greek going to join us. Then the professor, he'll have the big board and maybe some college basketball plays for us. That's been red hot. Mark Lawrence later on from PlaybookSports.com and the Gambling Gourmet. That's all ahead. On a Degenerate Friday, we welcome everybody into the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that it's 7:35.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
You're going to Atlantic City?
AC for a little Thanksgiving celebration.
Jersey sucks.
Yes, it's going to
I'll
be
go to
freezing
Jersey.
cold. I like the loneliness of being the only guy on the boardwalk because
Yeah.
the ocean looks especially rank.
Depressing.
Yeah, at that time, and you're thinking, I'm just going to walk into it right by the Ferris wheel there that's out there on the
No,
pier
it's-
that's closed.
The Jersey Shore always looks like the set of Private Ryan when you look on the
Yes,
beach.
yes. If you were
Oh,
borderline
it's-
suicidal, you might consider not going.
Start your day with a cup of Defo. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
All right, with that, we bring on the Greek to the program here, a Degenerate Friday on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, and happy to have you guys with us. Always a pleasure to have this man on the program. And Greek, you'll be happy to know I'm heading right back to Atlantic City for the Super Bowl. Middle of winter, dead of winter, Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Well, you must be getting a free trip because you're a little tight with the buck. And Jersey, this time of year, I wouldn't go there. They couldn't pay me enough.
It'll be ugly. There's no doubt about it. No, it's a totally free trip. I've described these trips to you before. The out to Cocker junkets that we get out of West Palm Beach. You would love this crowd. I mean, absolutely love it.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way.
You know, it's weird. I'm also very recognizable and popular with these people. So I guess my demographic was 80 plus or approaching death in terms of my popularity during my career here. Because I can't tell you how many people, I'll say, is this seat taken? And, then 6 people go, DeForest, man, how are you, man? What are you doing on this flight? The over-under, Greek, and this is great, on wheelchair assistance needed to get on the plane. It's a charter flight, and all the people are, guests of Harrah's or one of the casinos. I guess it's all under the Harrah's umbrella. What do you think the over-under is on wheelchair assistance getting on the plane?
14.
You're a little high. It was 10 and a hook last time. It went well over. I mean, well over the number. And what's weird is, I mean, it's not just wise guys like us that's in on this. The people behind the counter actually are wagering on that as well. Like the people that are punching up your tickets there to get on a plane and, assisting you and weighing the bag and everything. And they're like, we mentioned this. I whispered it to a Mustang. Looks like we're going to hit the over here because we saw like 12 people in wheelchairs. And the guy behind the counter who was, giving us our boarding pass says, oh, yeah, it goes over every week.
You're nuts. Jersey this weekend, brother. Let me ask you a question. 2 o'clock in the morning, your phone rings. This is on my show this week. Jane Fonda, Cher, or Martha Stewart? Who do you bang?
Wow. I mean, is there a fourth choice there? None of the above. Martha Stewart, no way. Jane Fonda, it'd be tough to get over the Hanoi Jane thing. Cher never really, obviously interesting woman, but never really appealed to me physically.
No, I'd say Fonda.
All right,
What do
you
you-
got to pick one.
I'd say Fonda.
I'll go Fonda then.
I mean,
I'll overlook the politics. I'll pretend I'm Matt Getz and just bang the crap. out of him.
Martha Stewart all day long. Pancakes in the morning. Hangs out, brings me like a little Bloody Mary. Hey, Greek, what's going on? Smokes joints. Come on.
Done time. Yeah, she's done some time, so that's relatable.
So you know she's a little freaky. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at you. You heard
Plus,
my
isn't
show.
she in some commercial where she's like sharpening up a samurai? Isn't that Martha Stewart? because she almost looks unrecognizably good. I mean, looks like very young all of a sudden. I don't know how much touch-up they did on this thing, but or airbrushing or whatever they do to make somebody look younger. But she does look a lot younger than either Cher, who's kind of freaky looking. So, my girlfriend's brother in Los Angeles was actually working with Cher. So I have met her a couple of times. And then I did wait on Cher in a restaurant when she was dating Greg Allman. Had TMZ been around at the time, I could have made a fortune because I would have had the one picture of these two guys, snuggling up to each other in this little corner.
Yeah, sure, I can't. I like her, but I think, we're fooling around. She's going to play I Got You, Babe. I don't want to deal with that. I'll go with Martha Stewart. Jane Fonda's going to make me watch one of her father's old cowboy movies, 3 in the morning, wants me to take off my shirt. I'm going with Martha.
The thing about it, too, though, I mean, she found a 5'4" Sonny Bono attractive. Yeah. So as she's telling you how handsome you are, Greek, man, you're thinking, but I mean, you said the same things to Sonny.
About that, man? Who cares? Compliment's a compliment. Had a guy in a bagel place. He said, "You should have been in the movies. You look like Tyrone Power." I was like, "Thank you." You know what that is? I said, "No, I don't." He goes, "And a little like Bugsy Siegel." I said, "Whoa, not bad. I'll take that."
Yeah. You know what? I mean, it was always a negative, and we've been talking a little bit about insults because a guy came up to our buddy Mike Mayo at a restaurant. He was sitting at the bar and he had a bunch of food in front of him, and he hands him a card, with like a gym membership and says, food tastes a lot better if you're in shape.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's pretty, I mean, pretty insulting, I would think. I don't know, I mean, how you would react to that. I mean, do you shove a potato in his face? I mean, I don't know what you do. But this always used to happen. I mean, where guys would come up to me and say, you know what? You look much better on TV.
Wow.
Usually it's the opposite. Like somebody would say, "Wow, you look much better in person." But that's what I used to get. And then you always get the proverbial, "You have a face for radio."
Yeah, that's right. I had a lady about 2 weeks ago. I was at New York 5, and she comes up to me. She goes, "Can I ask you? Did you have any work done?" I said, "Car?" She goes, "That's nice skin." She goes, I don't know your age. She goes, but I know it's not what it probably is, but I just wondered if you had any work done, if you knew the doctor's name. I said, "Lady, would you touch the Mona Lisa?" No. Of course I work.
She's touching your face.
It's crazy, yeah. I mean, everybody's all over that Madonna thing. What do you make of that? Her face, as Joan Rivers says, it looks like it's going to turn into Tupperware pretty soon.
Looks like she did something with a couple chipmunks the night before. And they didn't leave her out.
What does he do?
I believe it was on the corner of Glades and Jog Road. Does that make sense geographically? Glades and Jog Road.
Yeah.
That I was stopped at a light, and there was a woman in a Mercedes convertible, and she's in the left lane, and I'm behind her, and she was getting Botox injections that were being administered at the corner. Instead of like the guy selling flowers or any of that, they actually were selling Botox injections at the corner of Glades and Jog Road.
And in Boca, when they're out of Botox, they put the flags half mast.
All right, what are we doing on this game, Greek? What do we have going? Anything? What do you think?
Chiefs. I got Chiefs in Vegas 7-1. I bought them in October 6.5 to 1.
Nice.
Bet the Chiefs. The over on Mahomes' completions 24.5. Nice. There's 2. And I would bet the yardage for Mahomes over 2. And if you're going to bet a team, you always bet the MVP because you know what? He's plus 130, and the quarterback has won 37 times out of 57.
Yeah.
Great.
And also, I told you the team that wears the white jersey is won the last 13 out of 15.
Okay. Any other props that you're inclined? I mean, I was making a case. I convinced Lubie that I might be onto something. First reception of the game, I was going to go with Tony and Smith-Schuster, both at 16 to 1 for a small amount of money, like $20 to try and win 320. Because it's contingent on the Chiefs getting the ball first and then making a play to the outside.
Yeah, I think that's not bad. I don't think it's bad. I mean, there's so many. They have 66 pages. My buddy was in Vegas, and obviously all the guys I know props. There's all crazy ones.
Yeah.
I mean, on a serious note, if you're gonna bet crazy, don't bet like Rihanna's eyeshadow and who she's bringing out and the Gatorade. I mean, it's a 50-50. If you really want to bet the game, bet one side that you like and go with it. And this is a good Super Bowl because basically it's a pick.
Yep.
I mean, it's 1.5 Philly. So, I mean, I like the Chiefs personally, and I'm betting because of two reasons. Andy Reid's been there 3 or 4 times, obviously, and so's Mahomes. And I think the first time for any coach and quarterback is a little bit harder. That's where I think the advantage. I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to blow out, but I think they win at the end of the day. I know they have some injuries. There's a flu going around that they have some problems that hit the team. I got a report yesterday from one of my buddies. But I think they'll be fine. And I'm not going to say, like I said, I'm not saying they're blowing out. I'm saying that I think they're going to win.
Okay, I mean, oh, look, obviously the line has been stuck at 1 on a hook for a better part of a week and change now. After got as high as what? Did it get as high as 2.5? Or I know it was 2.5. Was it 3 ever for Philadelphia?
It was never 3, 2.5, but a lot of people came in and pounded the Chiefs. I mean, everybody is basing. A lot of people are basing the Super Bowl on Mahomes being hurt.
Yes.
And then when he played, he looked okay. And then you give the guy 2 more weeks, and then the money started going the other way. So, again, I think it's going to be a good game. It's only a good game if the Chiefs win, obviously, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, and I like the fact that you're pressing your action. You're betting the Chiefs in the game, even though you've already got them at like 7-1, which is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love that about you, Greek. You don't back off. You don't hedge. Nothing.
No, he's Greek.
No, like wearing a condom. I'm not doing it.
Right, because whatever you bet on the Chiefs, at 7-1, obviously you could put that equal amount on Philadelphia here and not even worry about the point spread. Just do it on the money line, and then if somehow you get beat out of the preseason money that you bet, you still get your money back out of the bet. It's an envious position to be in.
I'd rather lose.
I love that about you, man. You go down on your sword, man. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, and that's why you're the Greek, which is great. All right, what else? What do you got going? You got a Super Bowl party of some sort? You're going to be somewhere handing out balloons?
We're live today at Supreme Golf Cart Company, where you can get golf carts all tricked out. And tomorrow at Gulfstream.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. We're there today. Later on today.
Supreme Golf Carts in Delray, and then Sunday night I'm at Strikes with all the guys watching the game in Boca, having a good time, and that's it.
Nice.
All right, sounds like a great plan. I'll be freezing my ass off in Atlantic City.
Love you.
You're a great American.
I hung up on him.
I mean, as much as we love the Greek, he's an advocate for going out there and getting like a customized golf cart to ride on the street.
Well, they're going to pay him.
Then we talked to. Yeah, I guess that would change your tune, right?
No, but he says there's nothing wrong with the golf carts. Just drive it in your community, which I agree. Like, drive it local. Don't go on the fucking highway with your golf cart.
A1A is getting to the point where it has almost as many golf carts as regular cars.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
That's a lot.
And then now, next you'll see people on I-95, driving golf carts.
That's the thing.
It's like, unless you're Arnold fucking Palmer back from the grave, I mean, just get yourself a regular vehicle, right?
Yes.
That'd be the way to go. All right, the professor coming up, and he'll have the big board and some other things, no doubt. I would imagine he has some kind of opinion on the Super Bowl itself as well. Later on, Mark Lawrence, and then the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, will weigh in. Is that appropriate? Weigh in on the program. I don't know how. I mean, he was at Runway 84 the night before. Think about this. Man is living a very rich food life, which I guess it comes with the territory, right?
Well, that's his gig, and he's extended it into this, and now it's video, so it's even more relevant with the pictures and the socials. Like, he's sort of expected of him.
I mean, if you're writing about boxing, are you compelled to get in a ring and, duke it out with Gennady Golovkin before a fight? No.
No, but you go to fights, you cover fights.
Right, true. So I guess if you're going to write about food, you're going to eat.
Touch it, and taste it. Yep.
But lately it's been like high-end stuff. I mean, the Catherine, Runway 84, now Seville last night. And, this is not like, where a guy says to himself, well, I know I'm going like, I did manage, believe it or not, on my own to get a reservation. 6 p.m., not the greatest time, and upstairs in like what is an enclosed sort of outside area at Chef Vola's for Valentine's Day. How about that?
Nice.
Because I thought that we were going to be staying over Wednesday night and leaving Thursday, but turns out we're coming back on Wednesday. So the only chance I had to go there, they're closed on Monday, was Valentine's Day. Well, now, what were the odds you were going to get a seat or a table at a restaurant like that on Valentine's Day? It's not a big place.
You never know. I mean, places are weird.
6 o'clock. I said, whatever it is. They said they had one table left for two. Not the greatest of spots, but good enough. Any place in the house is good. So that'll be it. But I would be inclined to not eat a thing all day until I got there.
Oh no, Mayo would have 2 meals before.
Right. He would have already been to like Jack's Hamburgers and maybe some other place where they put like a baked potato on the burger itself.
100%.
Incredible, yeah. All right, coming back. The professor going to join us next, and that's going to be a lot of fun with the big board and many other things. And then, of course, as we said, Mark Lawrence and the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
7:51. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
If Brian Flores had just kept his mouth shut, collected his $100,000 per loss checks,
Very
and
true.
done his job. That was what you were hired for, asshole. You weren't down here to compete. You weren't down here to try to win games. You were hired to lose games so we could get the number one pick in the draft, you piece of trash. And then you've got the nerve to sue your boss because you refused to lose your boss's instruction. And you know what? I hope you stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I hope Joe Burrow kicks your ass twice a year for the rest of your life, because that's what you deserve for not doing your job, you piece of garbage.
Well stated, Professor. All right, I can't even imagine where we're going with number one.
Honestly, can you imagine if you're the Arizona Cardinals right now and you are getting ready to possibly hire this man as your head coach? If I'm Kyler Murray's agent, I'm calling the Cardinals front office and say, that's fine. Trade my client right fucking now. Do not put this bum anywhere near my player who you just signed for $200 million. Do not put this piece of garbage. If I see Ryan Fitzpatrick in Las Vegas because it's 100 miles from Phoenix, I want everybody in the front office fired or my client out of this franchise.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
I guess it was somewhat close there. The Arizona Cardinals had Flores under consideration. He finally took the defensive coordinator job with the Minnesota Vikings, once again driving another nail in the coffin of the Vikings franchise. They will never amount to a hill of beans. All right, do we have the professor? I just saw him. There he is. All right, very good. The professor joining us here on the program. And I'm not sure where you stand on this, Professor. I don't know if you have any definitive thoughts on wagering on the Super Bowl game. I'm not sure. I would imagine you might have a few bucks of action just to have an interest in it. What do you think? Have you come to any conclusions about this thing yet?
I think this is a weird matchup, Defo. It's unquestionably a very good matchup. These
Yeah.
pretty much the two best teams throughout the course of the season all year long. I know Buffalo Bills fans will get upset that I said that. Sorry you had bad breaks with injuries. That's the way life goes in the NFL. But from a gambling standpoint, I'm not sure this game's all that appealing, honestly. I don't know if there's a side I love. I don't know that I love the totals. It's interesting. It should be a good game, but is there a great side on this? I really don't think so. I'm kind of with Lubie, and he and I have discussed this game a little bit. I lean towards Kansas City because of the superiority at the quarterback position, and because Kansas City's offensive line is very good, which should offset that Eagles defensive front, which has been so dominant a little bit. But the Chiefs' fate in Super Bowl seems to come in with, at least one significant unit very banged up, and this time around it's the wide receivers. Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely puts a fork in the game. And then speaking of forks, from a Super Bowl party aspect,
yes,
like this is a nightmare matchup without being, just like the most worst possible from a Food City perspective, which I know you and Mayo have liked to do. You got Kansas City barbecue versus cheesesteaks. That's just not really
it's a lot of
all that interesting in terms of a food scene in either place, to be honest, because I'm not the biggest. I know Lubie loves it. I'm not the biggest fan of Kansas City style barbecue. So,
yeah, I haven't quite figured out exactly what that is and where you can get it around here, although I've seen it, featured.
The defining traits of Kansas City barbecue are using rubs on everything, and then a very sweet tomato molasses-based sauce. I think they're one of those ones where we claim we invented something. Supposedly, they invented the burnt end. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's dominated by the rubs in the sauce.
Okay, that makes sense. And obviously, the cheesesteak is the first thing that comes to mind in Philadelphia. They would probably, I would imagine, feature a little bit more diversity overall on their culinary
I don't really
scene.
know that they do. It actually seems like
maybe they don't. Yeah, every place is a cheesesteak spot. Yeah, you're right. High-end restaurants are serving cheesesteaks.
It's like cheesesteaks are worse. It's like it goes from cheesesteaks to Wawa to tasty cakes. And like, okay, I enjoy a tasty cake at a Wawa as much as the next guy, but
yeah,
I know for a Super Bowl spread, kind of limited, kind of pedestrian, plebeian. I don't know what the term we want to use here is.
Yeah, not much to choose from. Like you said, when you're trying to figure out which side is going to be the more favored, one to play, or the more favorable one to play, the one that you're going to win with.
Well, I think in this case, you definitely want to go with the KC barbecue as the superior
over the cheese
side.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, again, I like cheese. Lubie was actually shocked yesterday. He, for some reason, didn't think I like cheesesteaks. Everybody likes cheesesteaks.
How do you not like a cheesesteak? Yeah,
it's kind of pedestrian.
That's
Well, I mean,
meat, onions, and cheese. I mean, you can never go wrong. Yeah,
I've never seen you make it. Like you usually go really highbrow, so I've never seen you make a cheesesteak. I'm sure you can. I've never seen.
Yeah, not up there with your duck foie gras that you had that Lubie ate raw that time. I think that was a Super Bowl party.
That's Mr. Fancy Defo, who, as I'm coming on, is talking about some reservation at some mom and pa joint in Atlantic City that you need 9-month reservations normally.
Well, no, you need to know somebody
for Valentine's Day.
No longer. Now they got open table, and they're more than happy to accommodate you.
And you're going on Valentine's Day. Like, are you bringing a dime? Is that what's?
No, this place very, very reasonable. I mean, it literally 2 people. We ate there last time we were there a few months ago. It's a bring your own booze place. They don't have a liquor license, but they encourage you to bring. They don't want you bringing hard liquor in there, but they don't necessarily say anything about it. But wine.
I got to tell you,
Defo,
I think it's the most appropriate thing that I can think of that you have now seem to be headed towards the wire as the guy who has Atlantic City wired. That seems like
it's great, man. It really
perfectly appropriate to me for some reason.
The poor man's Las Vegas. I mean, there's nothing like Vegas, but you don't have to take that much of a schlep. And then you got to see the characters that are on this charter flight, Professor, and it's many of the same faces on all of them. Yeah. You are looking at death as the average age. Mustang doesn't
Again,
fit in at all.
what
They
was
actually
your-
question her. I mean, like if she's legitimately the person that's on the license, because they can't believe that anybody
'cause
under
she's-
90 is on this
What's her
flight.
snapper?
because Mustang is way too young and way
Yeah.
too vital to be the grizzled slots veteran that she is. Like that's normally a role
Yeah.
reserved people with walking devices and oxygen tanks. Like generally speaking, and a very serious cigarette habit. I honestly, does the flight you take is the last one that allows smoking on the plane?
Yes, smoking is encouraged.
Of the world.
Actually, they
What a
hand you a
dedication.
pack of Camels when you get on the flight.
I was going to say,
The thing is, it does
Coffee,
take a little
tea,
while
or-
for some
or
of the people to get
Marlboro
through
Red?
security because of the oxygen tanks. They don't really encourage that as much, and a lot of people don't
I
have
generally,
defibrillators and things like that.
Back in the 80s when they had smoking on planes and they had the smoking
Yeah.
in the non section, your flight, I don't picture that. I picture the filter and no filter section.
Like the 60s.
It's some grizzled old veterans of the slot wars, I can assure
Yeah,
you.
like
and, but they come with a lot of cash. I
the
mean,
back.
I see why the guy. I was going to say that these women are like, you got some 90-year-old woman, and she's talking about how she only bought 5 dimes this time. And you're like, 5 dimes? I had like 300 on me. I'm hoping to make it last a week. What are you talking about? All right, so nothing in particular there. Will you be taking in a game or what at the Foundry? What's your plan there, Professor? Will there be a big game
Actually,
party
I
at
think
the
we're going
Foundry?
to do the. There will be a big game party at the Foundry. I don't know if I'll be attending. I may do the game at the house thing, which has become sort of a
Okay.
tradition around here, and do a little cooking myself. So
Very nice.
possibly that. We'll see. I haven't really
All right.
finalized plans yet.
All right,
How
college
about you,
basketball.
Lubie?
Lubie's not coming to your party. What are you talking about?
I may do it at the house location. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure it out.
I tried to invite Lubie and I got shunned. I got the stiff arm.
He hasn't invited himself yet. I mean,
I tried.
look,
to ask.
everybody wanted to show up at your parties because the professor could.
No.
cook.
I
can assure
got
you
the
people.
Heisman. No, I'm not coming. I don't like your crowd, Ken, so I won't be coming. But
Nice.
But if you will set aside a plate of food for me, I would appreciate it.
Oh, there you go. Dog.
I literally that was the rejection I got. Like your crowd is not quite football intensive enough for me, so I won't be coming.
Yeah.
But if you would set aside a plate of food, I would like that.
Would be greatly appreciated. And Shirley loves your ribs.
That takes some nerve right there. Really, you get you get the stiff arm along with the but save me a plate.
You thought he was learning from the ultimate schnorrer all these years, but Mayo has exceeded anything that I've ever done in terms of taking advantage of his position to gain a large amount of freebies. All right, college basketball. Anything on the board there for the professor coming up that we can embrace? It's been an interesting season. I've been watching a little more college hoops, encouraged by the Svengali himself, Jim Sarney. And, it's been kind of topsy-turvy. Purdue loses, still remains number one. We had the FAU run come to an end, but a lot of interesting developments all the way around. What are you zeroed in on the college slate there, Professor?
I think it's a lot like last year in that maybe there's not a great team, but there's a collection of good teams.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, if not from necessarily a betting perspective, but just if you want to watch good college basketball, like every matchup in the Big 12 this year has been phenomenal. It's also been very home biased, which from a betting standpoint is always a nice thing to have. If you have the home team in the Big 12 as favorites, as dogs, as whatever, been very solid all year long, and it's been the best conference. You mentioned Purdue. With Edey, they have a nice team. They're very good defensively, although I'm not sure how high quality the competition in the Big Ten has been for them. And then you've got Houston, who's sort of hung around all year long. But looked like going into Sunday, like Temple might have their number because Temple won the first half. Houston staged a big comeback in the second half to maintain that number 2 ranking. But, it's an interesting year, a wide open year, as you said. In terms of tonight, there are a couple games on the card that I think probably are playable. We'll start with Xavier laying 6.5 at home on the road. To Butler, and X has been a very good team on the road this year, coming in at 5-2. Butler not really up to the standards we're seeing 12-12 overall. I think only 9-4 at home. So I would be inclined to lay the points with X in that game. Xavier has been strong all year, be getting stronger as they come to wire. And then you go to St. Louis and Dayton. St. Louis, a team we've liked all year, but really slipped in the last few weeks. I think 4.5 was the number I saw. So definitely playable there. Excuse me. I think with Dayton. Yeah, two good games for a Friday night, leading it to, of course, a lot of big games on Saturday.
You and Mark Lawrence are in agreement. I read his Morning Cup of Joe this morning, and he also was all over Xavier to knock off.
Wow,
Butler.
Mark Lawrence likes a favorite. I may have to have a heart.
Well, I don't know that he just was saying that there were favorable signs there. I don't know that he himself said he was going to wager on this, but
Mark Lawrence is one of the guys on your show. I always like when I'm on his side. I tend to have very good luck.
Yeah.
Some others, Brandon Lang, notably, when Brandon Lang and I are on the same side, it tends to be disaster. So, yeah, I would definitely take the Mark Lawrence endorsement of the game. That's
Lang is not a big fan of Andy Reid or the Chiefs, and he was very graphic in illuminating some of the problems that he has with Andy Reid. And one of the things about Lang that's remarkable is
who has a problem with Andy Reid? Isn't Andy Reid
it goes back to the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers. It was not necessarily, in Lang's opinion, Andy Reid's finest hour. And the words "fat fuck" were invoked several times during this conversation.
I was on the wrong side of that one too, but I looked at that as one of those games like, yeah, we probably should have known. Like, you came in with like 4 offensive linemen injured, and you lost the game because Tampa Bay hit Patrick Mahomes like literally every time he dropped back the entire game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes you just have to take, I made a bad pick, and I should have seen this coming. And that's the way I look at that game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other times, like the Atlanta Falcons that year, where like I feel like I 100% picked the right side, and somebody, in that case, Kyle Shanahan, absolutely screwed me. So, that those happen too, and those are the ones that for me are harder to accept. There's sometimes where you're like, hey, as we get into basketball season, I always tell PC and some other people this, like, you're just going to have that night where the team you're against shoots 60% from 3, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And
it does happen.
That's sort of the way I look at that Super Bowl.
Yeah, you could be right about a lot of things and still end up a loser. That's the beauty of this, and that's why, as you so accurately state, it's called gambling, not winning. All right, let's get to the big board. Big board for this week. I don't know, is it Super Bowl related?
It is, of course, Super Bowl related. I think this is, in fact, if I can remember, I think this is, in fact, the 1-year anniversary of the big board.
Very nice.
That's one thing we should talk about because it is not part of the big board. But I know it is one of your favorites, and it is my favorite bets, Defo. That, of course, is the over-under on the national anthem at the Super Bowl, which is where the big board started. We broke down last year's national anthem, where we were very wrong because we got the surprise that the Broadway performer, who had a history of going very short on national anthems, showed up with like a 5-piece orchestra and a guest singer.
Yeah.
When fucking Dizzy Gillespie
a minute and a half over.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that can happen.
Correct.
And it had it wasn't Aretha Franklin. It was Gladys Knight, right? Wasn't she sitting down on a piano? It was either one of those two. I get them confused.
I think because it was the hip hop Super Bowl, Tupac's hologram did like a verse of the national anthem. It was a disaster. This year, probably the most mystery pick in Chris Stapleton of all time in the Super Bowl. Normally, when you're breaking down, when you're handicapping, you go to YouTube, you find the videos of these people singing national anthems, and there's usually at least 5 major examples. 2 of them are usually at major sporting events, so you have a gauge. This year, I don't think anybody knows. As far as I can tell, this guy has never sung the national anthem before in his life.
I don't even think he's American.
There's no YouTube of him singing it at any major event. There's no YouTube of him singing it at a high school football game.
Wow.
As far as I can tell,
Chris
Stapleton has never sung the national anthem before. So in terming the gauge and the over-under, I don't know that the lines makers actually have a clue this time around. much less anybody else. So I think we have to stick with our basic principles, which is R&B singers go along with the national anthem.
Yep.
Pop acts are a total wild card on the national anthem. They can sometimes go very long and sometimes go very short. And country singers play the under. Now, the under, I've seen here at a few different numbers at a different site. The general spot is around 2 minutes, 1 second. I've seen it as low as 159 and as high as 202. But the consensus seems to be like 201, 202 in that area. I think you have to absolutely 100% go under. Chris Stapleton, not a big showman. He's known for that Tennessee Whiskey song, which is kind of a slow-paced song. But you look at his stuff overall, and it's very traditional country. So I think you're looking probably at a very dutiful, very respectful version of the national anthem that comes in at a nice, smooth under. Now, some people are going to point out.
You want to see that flyover right about 155, yeah.
Some people are going to point out that the last two country acts, which were Eric Church and Luke Bryan, who did it, both went over. I would point out that Eric Church did bring an R&B singer, Jasmine Sullivan, out with him to do it. So you had that, a country act and an R&B act. I don't know what the hell you do with that combination.
No,
and then you went and broke down Luke Bryan, and Luke Bryan, who I don't even really think is a country singer. He's more of a pop singer to me. What he really is a product placement singer. He sings songs about Bud Light Lime and Wolverine.
Campbell soup.
Yeah.
Ketchup.
But you looked at him, and he had a history, including at the Major League All-Star game, where I think he went 242 one time. Where he went super long. This guy, a little bit more traditional, but absolutely no track record, which makes this very, very exciting. This may be the most exciting national anthem in years. And I'm looking for an under. I think we're coming in. I think we're looking at a 1 minute something number here. So I think we're definitely coming in under.
Beautiful. All right, the professor with a major move on a prop bet for the Super Bowl. All right, are you going to wheel out the big board?
And that takes us to the big board, Defo, which when we're doing trivia last night and we ask a question about the national anthem over-unders, which, by the way, I didn't even realize this, but good trivia question. There have been 2 pushes on the national anthem.
Oh, wow.
Both Kelly Clarkson and Lady Gaga came up with official pushes.
Gaga push.
On the national anthem, which makes me hate both of those people even more than I already do.
It's like kissing your sister.
Like, how dare you push on the national anthem? You can't string that one note out 2 seconds longer, Kelly Clarkson. Lady Gaga, you can't insert, a little dance move in there. Kelly Clarkson, you can't take a break to eat something in the middle of or something.
Have a snack.
Like, what's going on, you two? Like, I don't get it. And we confused about half the group at Landlord. No idea that people actually wagered on the national.
Oh, really? People weren't aware of that?
This is a
not my crowd, that's for sure.
You can ask Lubie. There were people who were like, "Wait, people actually bet on that?"
You actually asked, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "A push."
Should have walked out on the whole contest at that point. Just said,
right?
That
deeply offended me, honestly. That offended me on a very deep level that people aren't aware of.
Yeah.
So it's our
It was worse than the guy who came up to Mayo and said he ought to go to the gym before he eats that steak at Runway 84. That's insulting.
Again.
Yeah.
Did someone really do that? That's
they did.
Runway took care of him and kept doing, like, if we go to the foundry and you just bring out food, they kept bringing out food, and he was there with a bunch of plates that he didn't order. And this gym owner comes up to him and is like, "Hey, I'm Corey." He's like, "Nice to meet you, Corey." He's like, food tastes better.
Corey.
Exercise.
I would have just stopped the conversation there.
I don't know what his name was.
I honestly, I would have stopped the conversation there. "Hi, I'm Corey. Of course your name is Corey. Go away from me. I don't talk to people with that name."
You douchebag. Yeah, exactly.
You have a douchebag name. All you're missing is the Axe body spray and a Cristiano Ronaldo jersey.
It's not even worth
it.
To
hear what you have to say.
Now that anybody can carry a gun, he should have just taken out a gun and shot him right there.
It's our job to educate people here. And so that's this week, Defo, which is the big board of stupid bowl prop bets. These are the 5 stupidest prop bets you can make, and you probably shouldn't make because there's no way to handicap them, even though a couple of them we're actually going to try to handicap. And you should just stay away. You probably either you're too into the Super Bowl or you have a gambling problem if you're engaged in any of these actions.
I'm with you.
And yes, you should probably back away. So let's go with number 5, which is the dumbest bet of the year, almost handily. What color is the Gatorade going to be that's going to be dumped on the coaches?
Weak, yeah.
Let me give you a little thing. When the guy who fills up the Gatorade bucket has the inside tip on something, you probably shouldn't be gambling on it. Like, I agree. You can't bribe a quarterback. It's hard to bribe an NFL ref. Yes. I think it's very easy to bribe the guy who fills up the Gatorade bucket. I feel like if somebody in the stands is going to slip somebody $1,000, like, make sure the Gatorade is orange. I feel like you're asking for nothing but trouble. But for some reason, everybody loves this particular bet. I don't understand it for my life. It is the dumbest bet annually on the board. But pretty much everybody I know plays this. Oh, I'm feeling yellow this year. I'm feeling red. Why? Like, and I don't, honestly, why would you bet anything but green and orange? Does anybody even drink anything but green and orange?
Like, they got the Hawaiian Punch version, the red. Yeah.
See, Defo has an opinion. Defo's throwing out the red.
No, but I would be inclined because lime would be
like
my standard. Yeah, lime
or
orange.
Are red too. The Chiefs are red. Maybe the Chiefs win red.
Lubie's got an opinion.
But you're right. I mean, you should be able to dig up some inside information on that and collaborate.
But the whole thing, like, the Chiefs are red, so maybe they have that Gatorade. I feel like that's saying, well, Andy Reid's fat, so maybe it'll be barbecue sauce in the Gatorade.
Yeah. All right, so stay away from this Gatorade color.
Patrick Mahomes has that haircut, so maybe it'll be Red Bull in the Gatorade cooler. Like, again, when the guy who fills up the Gatorade cooler has the inside dope, that's not action you should be engaging in. It's just a stupid play. And again, hugely popular. I've actually seen people on Radio Row this week breaking down the Gatorade year by year.
Well, and there are trends actually on that.
I think
lime has been the most popular.
Of course there are.
Of course there are. Of course there's trends on it. That's what makes it incredibly stupid, is that the trend can be bucked by some guy who makes $12 an hour.
Imagine. This is like your master's thesis, at Columbia, where you're trying to analyze what are the odds on this?
Color at the Super Bowl. Again, I like that New York Giants team with Parcells and LT that sort of made this a tradition, but this is the dumbest tradition ever. Yes. And I thought people, when the Duke's Mayo Bowl started dumping a bucket of mayonnaise on top of the winning coach's head, I kind of hoped that would break this, but it's not. This is firmly entrenched, and it's stupid. And if you're betting on this, you're stupid for betting on it.
All right, there we have number 5.
Let's take it to number 4.
Super Bowl prop bets. Yes.
Which I haven't seen this one before. I don't know if this is new or this has been around. How many beers will the people in the stadium drink at the Super Bowl?
Wow.
Over under 120,000 beers. Again, this is almost a 70,000 seat stadium. Now, I know the Super Bowl has become a wine and cheese crowd, but if you drink less than an average 2 beers per people, you people don't belong at a football game. You should be ashamed of yourself. Not only should this be over, this should be monstrously over. Who goes to a Super Bowl? The Super Bowl, not just a football game, and has less than 4 beers, has less than 1 beer per quarter. Like, if you can afford the $7,000,
you can
go sit in the stadium. You can afford the $20 beers at the stadium, and you should engage and indulge yourself. Like, there's a reason beer companies spend all the money for all the advertising. And it's because you're supposed to drink beers at the Super Bowl. I don't care what your situation is. If you're a recovering alcoholic, you can start again on Monday. An average of less than 2 beers per person is absolutely shameful. It's un-American. And I don't know what's wrong with you people. This number would be anywhere near 120K. This number should be like 220K.
I don't know if this is a tradition anymore, but it used to be at Shea when I was a vendor there, and there would be the guy that had like 50 beer cups, and he had piled them all on top of each other, and they kind of were like a snake. And then he was doing some kind of balancing act with all of the cups. I mean, do you see that anymore at stadiums? But that would be representative of one guy that could easily carry as many as 20 stiffs who didn't have a beer at all.
When
this guy was drinking like 30 of them.
When you say one guy, you mean me at every Marlins game I've ever been.
You need a quick clean beat on your house at that point.
Yeah, a little less aggressive with it at football games, but every baseball game I've ever been in, yes, I'm the guy who's stacking up cans and cups. And again, this is why I can't believe this number is only set at 120,000 beers for an almost 70,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, I mean, is it easy to find action on that? Can you just you think they have that in
Who
the
bets this?
standard sports book, or is that straight up
This
online?
actually seems to be everywhere this time around. Again, I've never seen this prop before, but it seems to have popped up everywhere suddenly. It's like the maybe the popular trend bet of the year. How many beers will be? And there's actually one for hot dogs that's set at like 18K, but now there's so much food at stadiums. I don't know how to handicap that, because like it used to be hot dogs 18K would be a huge over, but now there's like everything, and it's Arizona, so they'll probably be, I don't know.
How closely are they monitoring these numbers too? I mean, the guy that's the food and beverage manager, I would imagine, just says, hey, it puts $2 million on the over on some offshore book.
We're going to get into that in
it
1
over.
second, Defo, because let's be honest, like half of these prop bets are just some jerk off making up whether it happened or not. And that gets us into number 3, which is everything about Rihanna and the halftime show. There are like 47 prop bets involving Rihanna in the halftime show, including my personal favorite, which is, will Rihanna or will not Rihanna show cleavage during the halftime show?
Oh, really? What determines that? I mean,
yes, she will show cleavage minus 500. Well, number one, Rihanna has big boobs, as you can see from the picture here. So pretty much everything she wears other than a turtleneck shows cleavage. So I don't know how you come up with the term shows cleavage or not. Like, okay, obviously, if she shows up in a bra or bikini top, that's showing cleavage. But what if she's wearing a shirt that shows like the very top of her boobs? Does that count as showing cleavage or not?
How do you lose it?
Like, I feel like, are you bringing in
very subjective?
What was that guy who did the best of Mr. Black? Is Mr. Black coming in to rate whether or not she shows cleavage?
Blackwell, wasn't that his name? Blackwell?
Will Giselle be the guest supermodel judge on whether or not she shows cleavage? I don't know how you judge any of this.
Well, if it's anything like that picture, I mean, then go ahead and unload
very
500
clearly to
to
me,
win
right?
100. Yeah.
Again, Rihanna's got big boobs. I don't know, other than a turtleneck, how she doesn't show cleavage.
Yeah.
I
believe she will. Yeah, I mean, that's the way of the world right now. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, she may come out in pasties and a G-string. I believe. And Adele would be giving it the thumbs up.
But there you go. If you show full boob, is that cleavage, or is that I'm just showing my boob?
That's interesting. A distinction that you would have to make. Yeah, for sure.
And
that bet could come under heavy dispute, Professor.
That's a weird bet.
Like I said, it's a very strange bet. And then the more interesting one with Rihanna is the over/under on total songs is 9.5.
9.5 songs. Wow.
Now, that's what gets interesting, is that the all-time record, which was Diana Ross in 1996, is 10 songs. So to go over, she's got to tie the record or break the record for most songs sung at the Super Bowl. I assume this is yet another one of these situations, because I assume all these halftime bets are rigged because people have seen the practices, the practice sessions, and they
you
know
placed
exactly
that wager
what's
for
gonna
us
happen.
for footy. You were
So
the one we went to.
I assume this is going over, because why would you set the number at the record for over/under if she wasn't going over? Like,
that's weird. That's a weird. They don't do that many songs. Do like fine.
Plus, I mean, is this like her first live performance in like 100 years or something?
A long time.
I don't know about 100, but it's like a good 5 anyway.
A long time. She's made
so she might want to get everything in the whole portfolio, because everybody's getting millions, hundreds of millions of dollars for selling their portfolio.
Well, I mean, her portfolio is already pretty deep. She's got a pretty extensive catalog. So I'm not saying it's out of possibility that she'll do a record number of songs.
Yeah.
But again, when you start at the record, like that's a pretty steep state. Like
it's an indicator.
If the over/under on somebody's rushing yards was Timmy Smith's 204, like that's an interesting number. Like, okay, you're really handicapping this to go deep. So again, I think the thing we can count on, number one, halftime's going to be long.
Yeah.
And number two, I would have to go over there, because I don't think you set the number at a record high unless you're pretty sure it's going over.
Yes, cleavage over. That's my 2 prop parlay on that. All right, that's number 3.
And there's also, I guess she's dating somebody named ASAP Rocky or ASAP Rocky.
ASAP Rocky. He's from here.
Except I think the S is a dollar sign, so it may be a dollar sign.
Sounds like a rapper to me.
ASAP Rocky. His name's ASAP Rocky.
Okay. There's a prop. Will she propose to ASAP Rocky at halftime? That I believe is plus 3,500. So that one seems like a deep long shot. And I got to say, I don't see Rihanna proposing to anybody without a very well structured prenup because she's worth about $1 billion.
Yeah,
and I have,
company.
I have no idea who A$AP Rocky is. I assume he's a rapper, so he's probably kind of rich, but I don't feel like he's anywhere in Rihanna's territory.
He's a
I
college
feel like,
yeah,
I feel like he's the Tom Brady and Rihanna's the Giselle of that company.
Oh yeah,
she has all the money, so he would have to sign the prenup on stage in order for her
which would take more time, leading to the idea of betting the over on the length of the halftime show. Okay, all right, that's number 3. Everything about Rihanna. Number 2.
Number 2, and again, this is the dumbest one, but I do have an angle here, which is which celebrity are going to randomly show up on camera at the Super Bowl? Which last year, of course, featured Ben Affleck and J-Lo wearing Steve Urkel's glasses for some reason. I will caution you because I actually thought at one point, what was the one down here between the Saints and the Colts? Was that 2005, 2007, somewhere in there?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
I thought I had an angle on that. There was a prop. It was, and this was when Kim Kardashian was at the height of her powers, when Reggie Bush was one of the most popular selling jerseys, and the prop was over under camera appearances for Kim Kardashian 2, and I max bet over. I was like, there's no way they're not showing Kim Kardashian at least 5 times. It's Reggie Bush's fiance. There are even people, again, who thought Reggie Bush might propose after the game. And guess how many times they showed Kim Kardashian during that Super Bowl?
0.
Exactly 0.
Oh,
wow.
Very cautious with these celebrity appearances. Number 1, there's a factor of where they're sitting and can the camera find them, because you can't always get great views into the sky boxes. And just because someone's a fan or a celebrity fan does not necessarily make for a great angle. This year's favorite is Bradley Cooper, who's coming in at -500.
He's a big Eagles fan.
I know he's a big Eagles fan, but that does not guarantee he's going to show up on the camera at some time in this game. On the other hand, Ben Affleck is +400, and just because the NFL exists to drive me crazy, I pretty much guarantee you Ben Affleck's showing up somewhere in the fucking stands.
Oh, at least one, no doubt.
100%. Take Ben Affleck to show up at the Super Bowl. He's already doing a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, and now they have that stupid Michael Jordan movie starring and directed by Ben Affleck, which showed up the first trailer yesterday. So I am 100% saying Ben Affleck at +400 makes an appearance just to try to get me to shoot out my television at some point during the Super Bowl.
All right,
so is it stupid to bet?
No,
yes, it is. But you should absolutely take it because the NFL exists to make me sad, and nothing makes me sadder than the random Ben Affleck appearance during the Super Bowl.
And you know they have to get a shot of J-Lo in there. All right, that's number 2, celebrity appearances, and the final one on the dumbest of prop bets.
The number 1, it's not really that dumb a bet, but people have so overbet this, and this is actually a serious public caution. If you're thinking about taking a safety in the Super Bowl, don't. It is annually the least value bet of all time. Currently anywhere from +790 to +990, depending on what book you have.
Yeah.
Safeties in the NFL happen about once every 17 games on average. They have happened more frequently in the Super Bowl. It's happened 9 times in Super Bowl history. Usually in clusters, by the way. For some reason, they seem to happen like 3 out of every 4 games, 2 out of every 3 games. But everybody wants to bet on there being in a Super Bowl. There is no, it's literally half value. It's literally half of what true odds should be. That's the odds you're going to get on the safety. And again, shout out to my man CJ who loves this bet, who's cashed on it a couple of times.
But the Super Bowl had like 2.
But you are getting unreasonable. It would be honestly like going and buying Powerball tickets, them telling you, yeah, we're going to pay you half of what the Powerball is. Not for cash option, just we're taking half the money just because. Those are the odds we have decided. So, again, it is a ripoff. Don't bet on a safety in the Super Bowl. You will never get fair odds on it. I don't understand why America is obsessed with there being safeties in the Super Bowl, but it is annually hugely, hugely overbet. Do not make this bet.
How many have there been in history? Do we know? I mean,
there have been 9 Super Bowls in 9 safeties in Super Bowl, which is actually a disproportionate number. It's just over 1 in 9 games.
Yeah.
But in terms of total football, again, it's more like 1 in every 17 games. It is not a good play.
I'm with you. All right, excellent. I mean, I'm sort of thinking about adding to my parlay with Smith Schuster and our Tony making the first catch in the game, along with Kelsey getting a touchdown, throwing in that Ben Affleck appearance.
I honestly, I think that's a great bet. I really
That
do.
is a good one. Yeah, I'm hoping the book
I'm
takes all of those.
pitching these is stupid, and they are stupid. And the celebrity appearance one is stupid because there's a decent chance the favorite will never show up. But again, we all know, you people know from the big board, Ben Affleck and the NFL both exist to make me sad and angry. And nothing makes me more angry than this. So
and they can't resist J-Lo.
And honestly, with the Jordan movie coming out, he might show up sitting next to Michael Jordan, which absolutely means I will get it done and destroy my television.
4-1 on Affleck. Very tempting, Professor. All right, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for being with us. That was a terrific preview there of some action that all of us degenerates can enjoy on the Super Bowl. Have a great time, and we'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
Soon,
all right. Shout out to everybody. Enjoy your parties. Enjoy your Super Bowl. Honestly, I'm not going to be heavy action, so go whatever team you're rooting for. I don't care.
Yeah. Whoever wins, I don't know. I'm kind of watching, just thinking I will not have a solid opinion about this game, even after the first half, probably. You need to see a little of this. Yeah.
I know you. You're going to have a first, whatever my opinion is, your opinion is going to be, I'm going to text Ken, it's over after the first game. Okay?
Well, before the coin toss.
That's been your opinion on everything. But, okay, if we're going to have a rooting angle, Chris Stapleton, let's come in at like 130. There we go.
Yeah, under.
Not just under, but way under.
Way under on the anthem, and then Affleck showing up. So if you want to go that route, I mean, stuff that's totally outside the context of the game itself.
Ironic, but we call it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be the way to go. Excellent, Professor. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Have a great one,
Professor, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to come back in just a minute here with Mark Lawrence, get his thoughts, and he no doubt will have some numerology that exceeds anything that even Rene Descartes contemplated back in the days. What did he come up with? The graph? In addition to, I think, therefore I am. I mean, this guy was all over the place, man. Rene Descartes
came up with.
Yeah. And, did he also start the concept of having things a la carte? Think about that. That was, for that alone, he should have been crucified, this asshole. Anyway. Pythagorean theorem. Did you learn a little of that in high school, Lubie? And what good is that doing you today when you try to fix your washing machine?
Exactly.
Without having to call some criminal that's going to charge you $250 to just come out there and go, you see this? This should have never been in the bottom there, right? And he pulls like a little screw out of the whole thing. All right, coming back with Mark Lawrence in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Playbooksports.com. I'm pretty sure Mark had some stats about Xavier over Butler. Pretty sure that's where I saw that. So, yeah, so he was on board with the professor on that. It is 8:33.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Mark Lawrence, burial last night with the hook, the dagger right there in the small of my back. That hook did me in again. I should know better. What would happen to you? We've asked you this before. If you actually were giving points in a ball game, would you be able to live with yourself or look yourself in the mirror the next day?
I would probably be ordering my last meal at the same time.
There is nothing better than Defo. It's now time for the Defo Show.
Certainly no milk of magnesia coming up here as we welcome to the program. Welcome back to a Degenerate Friday edition of the show here in South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. For more insight, too, into this upcoming Super Bowl, check out our Believe podcast, which they're going to be our meal ticket out there to the next one in Las Vegas. And we featured another fine handicapper that we feature on the shows, especially on Believe, because of the timing element there. He's out in Las Vegas, Brandon Lang, and his scathing indictment of Andy Reid, I mean, was classic. I don't know. I mean, from just a language standpoint, I mean, you would have to label it beyond triple X.
It didn't change me from wanting to bet on the Chiefs, but it was hysterical.
Yeah, no, it was good. All right, here's a guy that usually takes a more pragmatic, practical approach to these things, and as we said, his numbers are extraordinary on all sporting outcomes that he tries to help you predict successfully. We welcome Mark Lawrence to the program, PlaybookSports.com. Mark, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing just super. I guess that's the word to use this weekend, Defo. How are you doing?
Doing well. I mean, I'm kind of lost on this thing. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm looking at the Chiefs getting 1.5. My first inclination is to bet the Chiefs. Everybody that likes Philadelphia, seems to have a very strong conviction, and they give you the usual, A, B's, and C's that go along with Super Bowl cliche analysis, which is who has a better offensive line, and even if you're a Kansas City guy, you're sitting there going Philadelphia. Who has a better defensive line, and even if you're a Kansas City guy again, you go Philadelphia. And then they rest their case, right? As if there wasn't any more to be said. I don't know. What is your thought on this ball game? I mean, I would be tempted to take the points with Kansas City, but I'm not sure how you feel about it. Mark Lawrence, what is your thought?
Well, certainly this is the most evenly matched Super Bowl I think that we've ever seen coming down the pike. You look at the numbers. From the amount of points the team scored are dead even exact. The amount of their records are dead even exact. Their common opponent stats are almost dead even exact. They've had 6 Pro Bowl players exact. They've each got a Kelsey on each team. I mean, my goodness, it's very, very difficult to separate these teams, and it's a terrific matchup for a Super Bowl game. Now, when I look at the game, what I do most when it comes to Super Bowl games is focus on a defense. Which team has the better defense, and can that defense win a football game? The defense here is obviously Philadelphia's number one in the league. Offense is Kansas City because of Patrick Mahomes. The Patrick Mahomes situation with him winning the MVP last night was not favorable by any means for Kansas City in the Super Bowl game. Just given the fact that there have been 21 MVP winning quarterbacks that have been in the Super Bowl game, and they have been atrocious in these Super Bowl games.
I thought you would have a number on that, Mark Lawrence. I immediately thought of you when I saw that last night.
Right. 8 straight losses, straight up and against the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Yes. Now you dig deeper into Patrick Mahomes himself, and he's been in 2 Super Bowl games. His passer rating in those games have been pathetic.
Yes.
64.2, which is more than 35 points below his career average. He stunk up the joint against Tampa Bay, 52.3. He was poor against San Francisco, 78.1. So you're mixing all these things together here, and suddenly I think the heat all goes on Patrick Mahomes and it all goes on Kansas City, despite the fact that they're the underdog. I think that only probably serves them well, just knowing they're dressing up as underdogs in the football game. But I cannot fade defenses, especially when you have a number one defense going up against the passing leader in the National Football League. When you've only had 2 cases, Defo, where you've had a top-ranked pass defense going up against the top-ranked passing quarterback in the league who's thrown for the most yards. Both times, both of those teams were destroyed. The passing leading team, they were destroyed by the pass defenses in those football games. To me, the pressure is squarely all on Patrick Mahomes, the MVP winning quarterback. So now what do I do with this? Okay.
Yes.
Do I lay a point and a half? No, I'm not going to lay a point and a half. I'm going to revert back to my old get out. I'm going to lay the money line. I'm going to play the money line in the football game.
All right.
And we'll lay $1.20. We'll lay $1.20 with the Philadelphia Eagles rather than the 1.5. That's going to be my play to the football game. Is
Wow.
Philadelphia minus $1.20 to win the Super Bowl game.
Now, have you scheduled any therapy sessions going with the favorite? Not necessarily a characteristic. I mean, and the logic, for you to say that, Mark Lawrence, I am now even more convinced I'm on the wrong side of this thing than I was before. Because I'm trying to figure out if a even slightly compromised Mahomes can dodge getting shellacked by this Philadelphia defense, which, I mean, a remarkable stat there is that they had 5 guys with 10 plus sacks. I mean, so it's not just one guy that's breaking through there. I mean,
No.
it's everybody. And, I mean, if Mahomes, he got successively more gimpy in that championship game. And while he's had a couple of weeks to rest up, I don't know, that could be impacted almost immediately if he gets hit a couple of times. So, strong case there, Mark Lawrence. I know it pains you to even suggest for a second to, go with the favorite, but good play there, Philadelphia, to win the game outright. Most people think this. Yeah, go ahead.
But I see we're not exactly laying the point with the favorite here. We're playing the money line to the game.
Money line. All right. I mean, it's like eating kosher. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Did a rabbi really bless this? Yes, he did. A lot of people are expecting, in spite of the fact, that you have mentioned the Philadelphia defense as being the most significant factor in the game, that it's going to be a high-scoring game. Does that make any logical sense to you?
Not if you like defenses, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No. And if you're thinking your thought is defense is going to lead you to the promised land, you're going to look to make a case to go to the under in the football game.
Yep.
And that's the only case I can make to the contest. It's 51 points right now as we speak, and that is a key number in Super Bowl games. 51. It's the most commonly fallen upon number in Super Bowl games.
Yeah.
But I have to get to the under here for the Philadelphia defense here. And you mentioned the sacks. Okay, Philadelphia's 70 sacks in the league this year. That's 15 more than the second best team, who happened to be Kansas City, by the way.
Wow.
So we're going to see, I think, a lot of getting after the quarterback in the Super Bowl here by both of these football teams here. And you can also talk the Andy Reid angle to the football game to the cows come home. How good Andy Reid is.
No, but he's not.
As an underdog. How good Andy Reid is with extra time to prepare in football games. The numbers are all out there for Andy Reid and how well he is with a well-rested football team. But when Andy Reid is going up against teams that themselves have rest in football games, he's done it 25 times in his career. He's only won 10 of those games. Straight up and against the spread. So, give the opponent an extra chance to get ready for Andy Reid, and they'll answer the bell. Is what they've done before in the past. So,
any crazy props on Mark Lawrence's radar?
Yeah, there's a couple that I think stand out here. Number one, we got a referee in Carl Cheffers, who's going to be the referee in the game, who has led the league in penalties per game each of the last 2 years.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So expect a lot of laundry on the field. I think the penalty prop is 10.5 penalties accepted, not just thrown, but accepted.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
10.5. So you'd look to go, I think, over that 10.5 with this penalty crew that they've got out there. Carl Cheffers leading the league with team penalties per game. Other exotic props, the one I like the best is the Patrick Mahomes theory, where his prop number is 99.5 for his quarterback rating in football games. And you're taking a look here. How will he come out of the Super Bowl game here himself? Well, we laid out the fact about how poorly he's been in Super Bowl games, how poorly quarterbacks of MVP have been in Super Bowl games. 85.3 is their average QB rating in the football game. I've got to make the case to go under 99.5 for Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl prop in a game like this.
Excellent stuff. And based on sound logic. Now, based on no logic whatsoever, I was thinking about taking 16-1 on either Juju Smith-Schuster or Kadarius Toney to make the first catch in a game, which obviously is contingent on Kansas City getting the ball first or somehow getting a 3-and-out without a completion by Philadelphia if they get the ball first. would you take a shot on that? Because almost everybody thinks he's going to, throw the ball to Kelsey right away. And I'm thinking, they got these guys back from injury. They want to establish that they're okay. And, so they throw them like some kind of, cheesy little square out just to get things underway. Pick up 4 yards on first down. What do you think about that one, Mark Lawrence?
Well,
you think I'm crazy? I can tell by the pause.
He didn't say anything. He's like,
you want to book that yourself?
he just sat there thinking.
No, I can give you a number to call, Defo. Okay.
This is what I came up with on the toilet this morning. That's how sick it is. Yeah, the whole thing. Because I can't figure out who's going to win this game. You obviously we have great respect for you and your opinion in this, and everybody I talk to that likes Philadelphia likes them for very sound reasoning. And, the people that like the Chiefs, are kind of like Lubie and I have been most of the week, which is how they really going to do it. I don't know. So I'm not convinced on either side, but, I would lean towards Philadelphia being the logical choice there. But other than that, I really don't have a great opinion on the game, so I'm going to do something crazy like that. And you would not recommend that then to your clients and the people that follow you on playbooksports.com?
No, because a lot of what it is that I do, is either has an edge to it, or at least you go into it knowing that you have some sort of a percentage working in your favor in a game like that. One of the things I'll share with you here, though, is that everybody feels that in the first quarter there's going to be a lead change in the game. The team that has the lead, the other team's going to come back and get the lead change. It's only happened 2 times in the last 21 years that a lead change has happened in the first quarter of the football game. So don't get sucked into that. You want to play no to a lead change in the first quarter of a football game. On the other side of the equation is the team that scores last wins the Super Bowl game.
Uh-huh.
Yes, they do. That 13 years in a row it's happened, 15 of the last 16 years. So, it's things like that you kind of want to grind out. Don't get caught up into how many points the game will be decided by exactly. Exactly. If you want to go by the game has been decided by 10 points exactly, you'd have lost 25 years in a row doing that.
Well, that's what I'm accustomed to, Mark Lawrence. That's why we have you on the show, to try and straighten people out. I mean, for what we're offering, I mean, just an easy solution. This is a recipe for disaster that we've been recommending here on the show all week. Mark, always a pleasure. I mean, your stuff is always fascinating to me and everybody else out there. At playbooksports.com. I would imagine many of our viewers and listeners would like to subscribe. How do they get involved with your overall program, which is outstanding?
Well, we published our Playbook 2023 Super Bowl guide. It's just filled with all kinds of great stats and facts and information. You can download that just in time for the Super Bowl at playbooksports.com. And we've done a new thing here, Defo. It's called our Win Report. WIN is our acronym for what's important now. And if anybody goes to playbooksports.com and clicks on the Win Report, you're gonna read stuff in there that's going to make your jaw drop, especially about the Super Bowl game. A lot of the things that I'm sharing with you here right now. So check it out, the Win Report at playbooksports.com. And one last thing before I leave here. If you are in need of, I do happen to have Dr. Jennifer Melfi's phone number. If you need it.
May need some help, even before the game gets started. Mark, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much. Great stuff as always.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Hey, thank you, guys. Be well, stay safe, and enjoy the game. Bye-bye.
All right, Mark Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we get a lot of perspectives on this stuff. We really do. I mean, you compare that note with Mark Lawrence and the way that he came up with Philadelphia, and I would click on After Hours with Defo and Lubie on the Believe Network, BLEAV.
There's nothing logical.
Must listen to Brandon Lang of Two for the Money fame. But they both came to the same conclusion: Philadelphia to win the ball game.
Everyone's doing that now, and it's I don't know if it's good or bad that it's making me get more entrenched in my opinion.
Yeah,
like I feel like I'm being stubborn and just like no, which is not the way. You're supposed
to. If ever you're going to have people convince you that their logic was correct, I mean, those two cases alone is extremely different as they were in their presentation. Which I don't think Mark Lawrence ever referenced trannies and.
There was no tranny mentions at all. That's true.
I don't even want to get into it.
Got
to keep this show relatively clean. I don't know. I mean, it's not like a pure, linguistic success here in terms of not using foul language. But every now and then you just have to throw in a couple of F-bombs just to emphasize a point. All right, you want to just pop right to the Gambling Gourmet here? Because we're kind of okay. Yeah, let's do that. All right,
you need a break?
No, we're good. We're going to go right to it here because we want to maximize your time here on the show to explain yourself.
I don't want to interrupt any business. You got to pay the bills. But
no, we're okay. We're
pretty good at that. No one's ever questioned us.
Intense homage to the sponsors. Yeah, you know the game. You're understanding it more and more each day. How are you, Mike Mayo? You all right, kid?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm in a much better mood than yesterday. I think yesterday I was a little hungover.
Why were you so angry yesterday? I mean,
it was poker. It was a poker loss running.
Yep.
When you grind like 6.5 hours in one of these tournaments, trying to get to day 2 and the money,
right.
And then you get jacks and you're, in the button in position, and then you run into kings who's in the small blind. It just really fucks you up. And, then you don't get home till 1:30 and you had a couple of drinks, and then you got to do a lot of things and deal with Dickstein and all that stuff. So
Dickstein,
anyway, meanwhile, just to start the day with
what do you got, man?
First of all, I almost choked on my cornflakes or Special K this morning because did Mark Lawrence just actually pick a favorite?
He picked a favorite, and he wanted to hedge and pretend like he didn't. But the team that is the favorite,
you can't split hairs and say, "Oh, well, it's on the money line. I'm not giving the points." Blah blah blah. The points are 1.5. It's a pick'em game. But there is a favorite and there's an underdog, and he just picked a favorite, and I just almost choked on my Special K. And by the way.
But you have to also give him this, that there is only one game to pick this week. So it's not like he can dodge
he has
that.
to pick it if you're a professional handicapper.
Right.
It's not
Well,
like
so I respect that.
He's bad.
Dodge it.
Take the Super Bowl.
I just have a moment to reflect. This is the biggest bullshit cereal of all time? This is
What
just
is that?
candy.
Special K?
It's the Special K.
Chocolate.
It's laced with like
delight.
disease-inducing ingredients.
Chocolatey delight. It's not a cereal. It's candy that you then justify and rationalize by pouring a little milk on top of it.
Right.
And I am deliciously eating it right now.
But you didn't have enough to eat at the Cafe Seville last night? Because you ran into Hacky Reitman there, but it looked like you had your usual
Reitman
stuffed pork
is the
chop,
same
whatever that
age
was.
as you, believe it or not. And
the Hackster, man. I called his biggest fight against Tim Doc Anderson at City Limits on TV. Yeah.
Nice.
We had to get drunk during the fight. It was a classic episode. We were drinking because the fight was so bad. I mean, it was one of the worst matches ever televised. And I do have the distinction with over 3 million views of having called the worst boxer ever.
That guy really
on
was
live
just
TV.
horrendous. That was
Jimmy Smith. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
That was the Rock'em Sock'em Robot. That was one of the greatest calls of all time.
It's
like a Rock'em Sock'em Robot out there. What is going on?
We never could have anticipated what we saw that night because I mean it's a live card. It's not like we'd ever seen Jimmy Smith fight before. It was his pro debut.
Anyway, it was great being at Seville last night. It was great seeing Hacky Reitman. The point of clarication, it was not.
Did he sound like a doctor or a boxer? Because he has
he was
two
pretty
personas.
erudite. He was dressed in one of those like Ralph Lauren button-down shirts. So he was in the very nice spiffed up mode.
Did he mention 2-ton Tommy Torino, his manager?
He did not. He did not. And I get a little jittery if somebody mentions 2 tons around me. And
well, I mean, you
just
have
going
to
the
describe
gym.
this incident on this show because we talked about it on the lunchbox. I'm not sure how
well,
much
you twisted it as usual, and Lubie, as usual, rendered the he depicted things accurately. Nobody came up to me with a card. Actually, I would have relished if the guy gave me a card.
He's free.
Because then I could track him down, punch him in the face after leaving the restaurant because it's bad.
Would you really punch this guy in the face?
No, he's obviously could kick my ass, but I would at least have a card and then try to turn lemons into lemonade by then pitching like, hey, how about becoming a sponsor of the Lunchbox and have a weight loss challenge and then pay me like $2,000 a month too.
Now you're thinking like a pro. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But alas, he did not hand me a card. All he did was came up to me, and I don't even know what the guy's name was.
What prompted this guy to come out of nowhere, like off the rope?
This was very strange because there was
you had 2 babes next to you.
Because
five plates in front of them. It was fucking weird.
Because they kept bringing out plates. I'm surrounded by plates. I have a glass of wine, and I happen to have, there was 2 women that was next to me that I knew one of them, and I was chatting with them and sharing.
We heard words like smoking hot associated with these 2. This sounds like that scene in Good Will Hunting, though, when Affleck goes up to Minnie Driver, and and then the guy from Harvard tries to make a fool of him and expose him for being a dumbass, and then Matt Damon comes in and just shoots the guy down.
Right.
Yeah.
But he didn't like it that you were hovering around these two chicks.
Yep.
I didn't
That's what I
have a
think.
chance to fire back with any witty repartee because he just like said his one line, which, as Lubie said accurately, when he saw me all with my surrounded by food and talking to women, and just said, food tastes better when you exercise.
Which isn't even a thing.
And what kind of shape was this guy in? I mean,
I don't know. He was like he wasn't that tall.
I mean,
He wasn't
did he
that
look like
impressive.
he had been
He
working
was
out?
balding.
Like,
I would say he was in his 40s, typical roid rage guy who's losing his hair and maybe like.
Why was he messing with you, though? I mean, what did you do to this guy?
Right.
Nothing.
So I put this.
Did you give him a dirty look or something?
Oh yeah, it went off on Let's Eat. It feels like let's
So-
get fun with this thing.
I posted the incident on Let's Eat. They got over 200 comments. I didn't read through all of them. I was busy yesterday doing other things, but I showed the thread to my daughter when I picked her up from school yesterday. First of all, I forgot to tell my daughter the story, and she read it, and she just said, "That's really sad. That's really mean." She felt for me, but then she read.
She sympathized with your position on this.
I wouldn't fuck that for you. I just
and she said, she goes, "It's not like you're like one of those guys in the whale." He said, "You have like
no,
a normal...
you're carrying this pretty well. I will say.
She says you don't have.
I mean,
like
you're
these big-
probably on the border of like, don't go any further.
No, I know, but I don't have big ham hock arms. I'm not
you look good.
Tree trunk. It's not. I'm not like Brendan Fraser in The Whale yet.
No.
She says you have like normal size arms. You just have like that big beer belly and a little bit wide in the waist.
A couple of changes, in the way that you approach things.
But
it's
my
right back to
daughter,
normal.
My daughter read through all the comments, and she said the one that rang truest and that she liked the most was kind of your thing, that this guy saw me talking to two attractive women, having a great time, being feted with things, and that he felt jealous. And his reaction, however inappropriate it was to just waltz up to me.
Now, did he give the women a look
verbal...
as he was relaying this message to you?
No, the thing was, it was so loud in there, and there was a music playing that they didn't even hear what he said. I had to recount it to them because I'm so self-deprecating. I didn't mind like repeating the line. I was just like in shock and said, what.
And it comes out of nowhere. It's ugly. Look, if you're in this business, you're in the public eye, and I don't know. It wasn't like he recognized you as being.
I don't think he recognized me.
This was just an asshole move by a guy that really had no business doing that. But people are always saying things. I always get a kick out of it. They act like. Which is fine. I appreciate all fans, anybody that's ever listened. I don't care if they hate what you do. It's all part of the business of trying to be an entertainer of some sort. And, but people come up and they tell you things about your life that is absolutely untrue. And they are convinced that they are right about that. And you're like, yeah. Remember the time that you got in a fight with so-and-so? And I'm like, I never got in a fight with this guy.
No.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
But yeah, you remember? I mean, I'm like, no.
People
You're
believe
out of your
whatever
mind.
they want to believe, and but just don't come up interrupting my meal and hurl an insult.
It was definitely the babes. I would have thought an indicator would have been that he looked at them with that like, hey, you see what I said to your guy?
Yeah.
Type of look after, to try and impress them that he was aggressive.
He just said it, and then he just kind of scurried away before I could even take a verbal shot at him. So it was very weird.
Kicking him in the balls would have been okay too, I guess.
Anyway, last night
I would have put you in the poor graces of Anthony Bruno at that point.
No,
so
I
didn't want to start a thing.
I don't want to become persona non grata again. Not after I patched things up with Vincenzo.
You did a good job there. We have to applaud you.
So, all right, Seville last night was great.
Yeah,
that a great vibe at the bar. Everybody comes in. Some people just come in solo. And it was a good scene. Coach Marty, who a long time, I guess, assistant coach there at Cardinal Gibbons was there. There was a guy who just moved to town from Boston who used to play hockey at BU. He used to play in the Beanpot tournament. He was there. There was a part-time bartender who was just there meeting a friend, eating there last night, not working. Cindy, I was chatting with her. It was just a good vibe. And point of clarification, not a pork chop. That was actually blackened swordfish. It was like swordfish.
Oh, very nice.
Covered with a special sauce with the absolutely delicious.
They do a tremendous job on that swordfish. They do it in a variety of ways too. I've had it many different ways.
Oh yeah. You could have it with just the garlic, with the olive oil and a little bit of garlic. You could have it that Costa Brava
kind of a
style.
red sauce on it one time. It wasn't a Santa Fe sauce, but it was
anything
great.
you want. And Joey was in a giddy mood because his horse Sir Gusa is running in today's last race at Gulfstream Park.
Okay.
It's a 50,000 maiden claimer, and we were there the last time that he ran and finished a fast closing third. And I thought, I had him finishing first and second. I would have won some money, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was too short of a distance last time. That was 5.5 furlongs on the fake.
A little
turf.
extra ground today, Mike?
Well, that's what you would think. I'd say he should be going 6, 7. They can't find the spot for him. They had to put him in a 50,000 maiden claimer because he said the other ones were 20 or 25,000. He was afraid he was going to lose them.
Right.
And it's going 5 furlongs. So I don't know. It's a little bit short.
Closers, come through in that spot.
But it's a wide open race. I mean, there's 2 favorites, but I'm gonna bet him heavily and
right.
root for Joey.
Right.
Joey can't even go out there today because he's got so many reservations on the books. They're just killing it there at Cafe Seville. So
well, they should.
He's gonna just watch it at home with Sally, with his Mustang, Sally, and just hopefully the horse will acquit himself well. And
back in the days of some of my catered parties, I used to impose on Joey for like a giant tin of paella and serve that, and it was always just a huge hit. We were throwing some high-end catered parties back in the day there. All right, who do you like in a ball? We're
okay, so
real we're going quick. On a Gulfstream.
Yeah,
today.
I know. We're out of time. Yeah. We could talk more on the lunchbox. We'll be at a Gulfstream. I've already formulated my restaurant trivia question for the week.
Okay.
It's something, with the Valentine's Day theme, I wanted a place that maybe is a little bit romantic. But of course, this is one of those that is no longer in existence. And it's in Miami-Dade.
Extinct restaurants. You've taken up the theme of referencing a lot of extinct
like
restaurants.
You. Yeah, I mean, you love those extinct restaurants.
Well, there were some classics here, man. There were some great places.
But this one, the wrinkle is it may be coming back. So
good. Yeah,
that'll be the.
I hope it's Tony's Casanopoulos, man. That guy probably checked out a long time ago.
Says hello, by the way.
And by the way, is there anything more romantic than taking your loved one to Atlantic City, New Jersey, in the height of winter? And going to a place named after a hideous disease, Cafe Ebola, for a
Chef Bola's is a great spot. There you go, in your pretentious. I know everything.
Cafe Ebola. Get vaccinated.
One of the finest restaurants in the country, I believe. And
I'm just having fun with the name. I know it's a great place. I will have to.
No, it is a great spot.
And of course, it's bring your own. That typical cheapskate move, so you don't have to spend $200 on a bottle of wine. You'll just bring in.
I would gladly pay for a bottle of wine if they sold it there. But
that's how they do it. But notice he chooses a place where that's how they do it instead.
This is their policy. That's
going to the Gordon Ramsay.
And having very unrefined opinions about Chef Bola's, of course, with no foundation in truth or logic. That's just the way it is, man. They've been around 100 and some odd years, I believe.
I know. I'm sure it's a great place. I
think it's 101 years that they've had this restaurant. Phenomenal place.
That's good. That's good history, and I probably would love it there. I'm just having
it would be your kind of joint. There's no doubt about it. And the fact that you bring your own wine is kind of cool because you can ship up. We take a couple of bottles in the suitcase there. They don't actually do the weigh-in of the bag on this charter flight because the Altacockers. Sometimes they have what's close to a dead body in one of the bags, right?
I didn't like the way that you shot down. Basically, the Greek was trying to establish a new line. It should be 14 on the over-under for wheelchair systems.
No, that's too high.
It's not. If you said it blew the over last time, I think the 10
last time was exceptional, though. I mean, that was
was it really? Do you think all these people are getting younger? Do you think the ones that were using the wheelchairs last
the
time
same people on the trip, pretty much? Yeah.
I mean,
we know
so
each
the
now.
line needs to be adjusted. Listen to the Greek. He sounds like he's making a lot of sense. I love the way that he hammered KC, and I mean, he's just sticking with them. He's not hedging. Yes. And Lubie, don't waver. If your first choice was the Chiefs, just stick with it. And just because Brandon Lang has these personal issues, and Mark
Lang,
Lawrence,
he was very illustrative of the fact that he despises Andy Reid.
Here's the way I'm going. I'm going to revert back to my old gambling gourmet days and just pick the team with the city where I'd rather go eat. Okay, so when it comes to picking the game, as much as I like Kansas, well, actually, I don't really like Kansas City barbecue. I love Kansas City steaks. There's some great steakhouses in Kansas City. However, Philadelphia has a much better food scene for foodies. Not only do you have like the classic old school Italian joints, the South Philly Italian scene, it has become a real high elevated food city because a lot of people escaped New York. It just got too expensive for these younger, more talented chefs. And so a lot of them came to Philly and opened up restaurants there. And Philadelphia has always had a really good restaurant scene. And now there's a guy named Michael Solomonov who is like, always wins all these major awards. He specializes in the like Israeli and Middle Eastern cuisine. He has a bunch of restaurants that are doing well. Philadelphia gets the nod food wise, but when it comes to betting, I have one angle that I'm becoming even more firmly entrenched in, especially after hearing today's, just blockbuster lineup of gambling experts on the Defo Degenerate Friday show. And that is this. Everybody's saying this is a great even matchup. It should be a close game. The betting line is basically pick 'em. So I'm more convinced than ever that we are in store for a long overdue blowout. I have no idea.
Lopsided game. All right,
I have no idea which way it's going to go. I mean, I'm picking Philadelphia just for the food angle.
Yeah.
But I think whoever wins this game, again, everybody is saying, oh, it's going to be a close game. It's a close matchup. That means when everybody's saying the same thing, expect the complete opposite. I'm going to run to the betting windows and bet each team winning by more than 3 touchdowns and just cross your fingers and try to cash in for like 12 to 1 or 15 to 1, right?
Very Tom Jicka-esque, go to the contrarian theory. And that was his thing he always used to impart to the great Ed Kaplan. Whatever the public thinks, go against it. Yeah. All right, Michael, we'll see you at Gulfstream Park. I hope you get some insight. Did your guys call you from Colts Neck Stable there?
And I didn't even see if they're on the card today. All I know is that
take a look, huh? I mean,
tomorrow's contest race is going to be the 11th race on the card. It's the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint Stakes, Grade 3 that has a field of 10. So that's going to be the contest race. So we'll talk.
I'm just hoping to get the restaurant by the second clue. All right, we'll see you at 12 o'clock today. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, ladies.
Excellent.
And
all right,
Gourmet.
see you out there, guys.
He tips his hat as a gambling gourmet on this show, and he likes the Chiefs, huh? He's with you, Lubie.
Does he like the Chiefs? I thought he liked everything.
Oh no, he likes the Eagles. He just said he liked the Eagles. Okay, made it sound like he liked the Chiefs.
With the Chiefs,
you know what? Our strongest handicappers, seem to have a big, lean towards Philadelphia. What did the professor think? He likes the Chiefs in his game.
He's leaning Chiefs because of quarterback, and that's look. And we're gonna go, and we've talked enough about this for over the last 2 weeks.
But it's it looms as somewhat of a toss up, and honestly, I try to envision how's this game going to go. If I'm handicapping a game, it's just like sort of trip handicapping a race where you're thinking, okay, can this horse get the lead? If you can he stick it out? And I don't know who's going to get the jump in this game. It's hard to envision how it's going to go. Is Kansas City going to come out and lay one on them? And like we said, it's like nothing that Philadelphia's seen before. Out of the AFC. Or, does Philly's defense just get after it? And you're thinking, my God, these guys are never going to score. Just hard to see, what the pace of the game is going to be. And, and I don't know that I believe that it's going to be the shootout that everybody thinks it's going to be. Because
that's the opposite, I think, is that it's going to be a tough, hard-fought game, but low scoring. I just look, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are now fighting for legacy. Like, that's just what it is. And both have tarnished big game experiences. They just
the experience there, I think, is a little bit of an edge.
But that's what I'm saying. The experience is an edge, but everyone is using, they've been bad, so they're going to keep being bad. That's not exactly true. We saw Barry Bonds break out versus the Angels.
Right.
We've seen the greats actually do the opposite. The greats eventually say, "Fuck you, I'm great. Watch."
Right,
and I believe both Andy Reid and Mahomes have to do their reputations are not good in these.
Another weak Super Bowl by Mahomes would not.
It's bad. It's really bad for him, and I think
bode well for public opinion.
Sit back and do it again. That's what I'm doing. And it's intangible bullshit. I admit it, and we usually make fun of it, but that's what I feel for this game. Now I'm just riding with it.
So, you know what? I will be leaving on that jet plane for Atlantic City and the big Super Bowl party in Harris and betting windows everywhere, galore. And I will be going there without a strong opinion about the game. I'm going to go ahead because I mentioned it here, and I would regret it if it happened and I didn't do it at 16 to 1. As much as Mark Lawrence suggested therapy, I'm going to take a shot with those 2 wide receiver props.
I like
$20, and do I parlay them to the Kelsey thing to try and pick up substantial capital? Why not? But maybe bet them separately also for a few bucks, so do you make something. All right, Lubie, I'll see you at 12 o'clock out at Gulfstream Park. And always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, people, for tuning in.
Yes,
Degenerate
thank you.
Friday. If you want more, I would suggest listening to that Brandon
link's
Lang thing, although there's some salty language involved
Oh, yeah.
there. In fact, it's all salty language, pretty
Yes, 100%.
It's salt.
Believe.com, BLEAV.com, search After Hours, and it's right there.
It's good stuff. I mean, you'll enjoy it.
it.
And we'll see you and Mike out there at the Lunchbox at Gulfstream Park, 12 o'clock today. So we'll look forward to that on South Florida Live. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Good luck with your Super Bowls if we don't catch you later. And we'll be back with you with this show on Monday and have our in-depth Super Bowl analysis. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll say goodbye for now as we leave you know that.
The time.
And I hope my New York Post is outside. I hate calling about bitching about not getting it. It's 9:10.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.